Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another HBO Spoilercast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, is my good friend Hunter. Hey, Hunter, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
We've just had, the first crash in HBO history. That was fun, eh? That was really
Yeah,
fun.
that was surprising.
Luckily, we only got 3 minutes into the recording. That would have been actually terrifying, but we're fine. We're here. And the Tears of the Kingdom wallpaper is in the background at the start of the episode. I think we've got a better time now.
Happy
This is the better
accidents.
episode. Yeah, happy accident. But no, if you're new here, welcome to our little spoiler cast. 200 subs, we promised that we would do a spoiler cast all about The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. And here we are. We're a little bit past 200 subscribers. I'm going to make the same jokes as I did last time because they were great.
Yeah.
But we're a little bit past that now, so thank you so much for 200 subscribers. We're going to be here with you for the next hour or so to talk all about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, go in depth, talk about everything that we liked, what we didn't like, the story, the world, all about it. We're going to be here for a little while. So, obviously, if you haven't played The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we'll give us a brief summary at the start, but I mean, Hunter's got a review up.
Yeah, there's a
YouTube
review
channel.
that you could go watch too.
Probably a better idea to get some impressions there, or the first impressions podcast episode we did. Probably a better place, but we'll do that anyway because we tend to. And then yeah, we will talk all about it. I guess I've made my notes. I've got a whole notebook with my terrible handwriting ready to talk about all those story spoilers. I showed it last time and it crashed the podcast episode, so I'll try it again. Let's see if it's the book. Is it the book that?
Is it the book? The Book of Death?
Yeah, dude, this is the Death Note, dude. This is the Death Note. Yeah, I got this came today, the collector's edition walkthrough guide, because I like supporting guides. It's
I don't know if it was
500
like this on your end, but when I mentioned my Twilight Princess book is right around when you died.
I heard Twilight
Maybe that's
Princess
what
and then it died, and I was like, that sounds about right. That's where I would have internally died, so we're good, we're fine. But no, it's really nice. Look, here's a picture of. Oh, you can't. Oh, it's so heavy. It's too heavy of a book. Ah, there you go. Look, there's a picture of Zelda in a cage. Perfect page.
Oh, she's so happy.
We found her. We found where she was. She was on page.
Yeah, you found me.
236. We got her. But yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff. So if you want timestamps, head into the description. We've got plenty of those. We're going to go from, basically, me and Hunter, we did things slightly different, but we played in the same kind of vein, where we did the intro, then we pissed around and did nearly all of the side content, and then did the main stuff at the end. So, for the most part, we had similar playthroughs. So you can go into the timestamps and sort all that jazz out. Before we get started, tiny bit of housekeeping for you. Obviously, there's a review of this game up on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Go and please watch it. There's other YouTube reviews on there. You can go watch those too if you want. Feel free. They're there. Go and subscribe. All that jazz. We talked about hitting 250 subscribers on Monday and be like, hey, if we get to 250, we'll do that. What are the other podcast ideas? We've hit 250, so thanks for that. We're working on it. But I have a special kind of request, and I'd love some feedback, not to go into what the project is. If you're wondering, is it the one that takes more work or the one that takes less work? You bet your bottom dollar it's the one that takes less work because you hit it too quickly. We'll do the other one later in the year. But especially for audio listeners, because on YouTube, it's very simple. Starting a new series, it just goes up on a new day. We're fine. Same channel, same place. You're all good. Audio listeners, I want you to know, because obviously you already get the regular spoiler casts and you get the Party Show podcast all on the same podcast feed. Would you prefer for this new show that might be more of an in-depth look at video games? Would you prefer this to be on its own podcast feed, or would you want it just all in one as a massive cluster? I'm thinking a separate podcast feed, but I also know it's very annoying to get people to transfer over to different podcast feeds. So let me know what you're thinking. I don't want to give away what it is, but it's a more in-depth look. It's very similar to a spoiler cast kind of situation, but it might be for slightly older games, and it might be more of a multi-part journey instead of a single little breakdown that we do here. They won't be 3 hours. They won't be, but they probably will be long when you look at them as a series.
Together.
We'll see. Yeah. But I would really like to know your feedback if you would be willing to want it, because I feel like that'd be a mess on the podcast feed if you had multiple shows going out on the same feed. But also, I don't know, maybe some of you enjoy chaos, so let me know. Any feedback, either email us, hotgamersonly@gmail.com, go to the website, hotgamersonly.com, click contact us, send us a message through that, or if you're on the YouTube, send us a comment at youtube.com/hotgamesonly. We would love the feedback. That'll probably be coming in the next, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months. That's what my time frame will be for that one. So look forward to it at some point. We'll probably start working on it soonish, but I'd like to have some of it in
Yeah.
the backlog because I don't feel like doing that week to week as well, because we already have a Miva getting this up every week.
No.
Might be better to bulk record that thing. But anyway, I'm done rambling. We have made it double the time the last one did, so I'm going to assume that we're going to touch wood, touch all the wood, touch everything. We're not going to crash anymore, and I think we're safe to actually move on. So let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Hunter, you obviously reviewed this game. You have said a lot more on this than I ever have or ever will. So what are your overall non-spoilerish impressions? How are you feeling at the end of Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh god, I love this game. It's real good. It took all the bones of Breath of the Wild and improved on it with better systems, in my opinion. Had a story that I felt was more substantial, or it felt more substantial to go through, and, had solid moments that, stuck with me afterwards.
Yeah. I think the biggest compliment I can say about this game is it took one of the best games of all time and made it look like a child's toy in comparison. I mean, it's like, I will never really, not that I didn't trust the team to make an incredible game, because I knew this game was going to be something special from the get-go, because the original was, but I will never really, before Tears of the Kingdom, I was of the opinion, and I've had these opinions before, where I'm like, I don't know what someone could do. The game's already great enough. They can just make another one, and I'm like, I'm never gonna sit there and ever think that we've hit the peak, like, from now on, because there's always a way to innovate. There's always, because if we were just like, oh, give us more, we wouldn't have got all the merge and the fuse systems and all the stupid things that you can do, right? And it's like, wow, what a great game. I have my own gripes with it. They're mainly petty. For example, we'll get into them later. I think the biggest petty gripe I have with this game is, for a game that for 90% of its life we have known as the untitled sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I feel like it could have felt more like an untitled sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, just from a story perspective. I feel like it's there. I also feel like they went too much into the, hey, people might have not played the original, let's not tie the story in as much. And I'm like, if anything, I would have liked you to have tied it in more, because I feel like there are connections, there are threads, and it's cool for asking questions when we're like, hey, where does this take place? What do you think about this? What are the links here? There's a couple of hints here and there, right?
All the nerdy stuff.
Which is fun to discuss, but I also would like a revelation and some answers, and I feel like some of them, for example, we'll get into the Ganon situation, they don't really touch on them. And if you had said to me, oh, would you put money on them linking Ganon and Calamity Ganon in some way or another, I would have been like, yeah, there'll be a one line or something that explains why he was the Calamity and now, like, or whatever. Do they fuck? Like, do they fuck do that? It's weird. Well, but it's a gripe. The game's fantastic. I love it to pieces. It's replaced Breath of the Wild as my favorite Zelda game, which is not saying much. There's only two on that list that I like, and Wind Waker. I'll give you Wind Waker, but I like it a lot. It's pretty good. So anyway, spoiler alert. I guess this is your warning. We're gonna go into spoilers now, because, like I say, I've got work tomorrow and it's already late, so we're going to get started. So if you haven't, we're recording this on Thursday. I don't know when I'll get this up for. If it's up on Friday, that's a miracle. Here's your final warning. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to go in order. Timestamps are below. We're going to go from Skylands to exploration to all the temples to the Endgame, all that jazz. We're going to dive straight into it. So, Hunter, what did you think of the Sky Islands? And why were they better than the Great Plateau? That's my question to you. Because here's the thing. I love the Great Plateau. I think it was great. But I also was annoyed at how well crafted the Sky Islands were. I was very annoyed at how I was like, this feels more like a tutorial. And what I mean by that is, it's like the game kind of expects you to, we talked about this in the first impressions, the game already kind of expects you to know what Breath of the Wild is and how to play it. So it just, the Sky Islands to me just felt like a massive sandbox of,
Yeah.
hey, here's the new fun stuff, mess around with it, right? And I just loved the way that felt. It was just a really cool kind of area. Especially with, you know, you have your whole intro sequence, you're in the depths. I think, I know we skipped over this a bit, but you know, everyone's seen it at this point. It's not really, you know, Zelda falls in a hole, bye-bye, she's off. Link gets yeeted to the sky with the big hands.
Breaks your arm.
You have the brilliant shot at the start where you're obviously diving and you're like, this is where they do the drop, isn't it? And they do the animation drop. And this time they paid someone to actually animate the logo fading in instead of just a fade in. And I'm like, that's nice. That's cool. You can look at it later and go, oh my god, the dragon is in the background of it. Of course it is. You know,
it is.
the subtle nods and the hints are forever through that game. And you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Which I love that stuff. It's very cool. But then you get this to the Sky Islands, and you know you have all the constructs going around. I love the goofy constructs, by the way.
Dude, the constructs are great. They're little friends, and yeah, they're nice.
I just love the stuff they're doing, and they're just doing it so goofy. Where it's just like, you know, you've got the one chopping the tree, and you've got
he's like
yeah, or you've got the one who is like, just, you know, he's got his like pile of rubbish or whatever, and he's like, no, this is my pile of rubbish, you go get your own pile. And it's like, just
like the one
like
guy
that.
at the forge, and you're like, when I was like going to, you know, kleptomania video game brain, just grab everything, he's like, hey, I'm using that for something, if you could not please. I was like, that's a very polite way of telling me to screw off.
And I think that's what's really cool about that, is that I feel like Nintendo, with the game mechanics, we talked about it in the first impressions, we talked about it in the review, it feels like they were watching those YouTube videos of people break Breath of the Wild, and they were going, okay, what's the stupid stuff that we can add in to make them go even more crazy with what they want to do, right? But I feel like they also watched like the Loot Goblin brain, like the goopy gamer brain of everybody mashing the A button to pick up everything that's around them in a 5-mile vicinity, right? So the amount of times that I was picking stuff up going, this is mine now, and them going, hey, that's mine, what are you doing? I'm like, you're right, I am in someone's house nicking shit, but I got away with it last time, so I'm doing it again. And it's like one of the birds in the Rito village, like the little birds was like, those are my arrows. I mean, I guess if you need them, you can have them. I'm like, now I feel bad. I just nicked arrows off a kid. And all the parents have gone, and who knows where they are.
Yeah, while her home is being buried under a blizzard.
Yeah, but I guess you can have those 3 arrows, you selfish piece of shit. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You can have the arrows back. I feel so guilty. Like, oh my gosh. And I love how into it they were this time. I feel like, you know, Breath of the Wild was such a special game because it was being made for a console no one gave a shit about, and then it got moved to a console that they didn't know if people would give a shit about. So it's this really special game where they were just trying to make the best game that they could make, and they didn't know if it was going to be a massive flop or a huge success, and they just made this thing that was fantastic. And I feel like with this one, they knew that everyone was going to love it, that people were going to buy it, and so they just went shit crazy to the walls of, let's add this, let's do that.
Yeah. Like, I think one of the things that displays how confident they were in this game was they didn't market it that much, because it markets itself by being Breath of the Wild's sequel.
100%. When you look at that final trailer, and I was like, whoa, spoilers, I'm only going to watch that once. When I watched it again, there actually isn't too much in there that is a huge spoiler, really. It shows bits of dungeons, it shows other bits and pieces, but it's not that big. I also watched it back. Controversial opinion. I think that trailer's fucking dog shit. I think it's not very good. But, you know, it's like, it's good. The original Breath of the Wild final trailer is just too perfect to ever be topped ever again.
You see, I really like the music in that trailer. The saxophone has been memed to death. I really like that. I don't know how to describe it. The da 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 burm 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 bit before that too, where it gets all crazy. I really liked that part too. I thought that it all worked really well with what they were doing. But
one thing I will say is, I think this is, not talking about Sky Islands, we're just getting into music. I think that the main theme for this one, I fucking love it.
Oh,
Like
I love the
the
Tears of the Kingdom theme so much. It's real
like
good.
I just love the kind of creepy chanting and like just all of it. It just like the kind of it's like the kind of it's the mixed. I kind of love it because it really does represent like the wild of Hyrule and what we were used to, kind of mixed with the Zonai tech and the weird kind of evolution and twist that the game has kind of had. And I just really love that it's the kind of mashing of similar, like the similar essence, but then with the new kind of chimed into it. And I'm just like, damn, it's like really cool. And then you have the intimidating bit as well. It's just like I love
Yeah, yeah.
all of it, like how
That
it
is real
represents the
good.
Zonai,
The
the world, Ganon.
the way that the game, and I to some extent the way that Breath of the Wild also handles like the main theme for the series too, has made me really enjoy the main Zelda theme in a way that I only kind of respected it before, and now I really like the take on it this time around.
So yeah, soundtrack. We've gone to dipped. We're having a great recording session today. But yeah, the soundtrack is just. I feel like in the original Breath of the Wild, people used to clown on it. So what soundtrack? I'm like, the soundtrack in Breath of the Wild was great, and I loved the way
Yeah,
that
it was awesome.
it's interactive and it kind of chimed in when it needed to chime in. And I think this one does it as well. But I think the reason that no one's complaining about it as much this time is because there's a lot more epic score to be had. I
Yeah,
think because
there
the boss
is.
battles are bigger, the game is louder, there's dungeons and stuff like that. I feel like there was more to play with there, so there's more of it. But I'm like, Breath of the Wild was already great. You were sleeping
Yeah,
on Breath of the Wild
people were
soundtrack.
sleeping on Breath of the Wild's theme or scoring because, like, I don't know, when I found Sidon and it started playing his theme song, that theme song is fantastic, and
Mm.
that was in the other game.
Or I just like the amount of times like when especially when I was playing the game, I had the stable theme just
Oh
ingrained into
yeah,
my head. Especially in this one now that you've got the stable heroes, right? You've got
oh
whatever they're
yeah.
called.
Yeah, the
Um,
stable heroes is what they landed on at the end.
yeah, the yeah. So and just hearing the kind of the melody that goes along with that, just so good. Kakariko Village, obviously. Um,
Yeah,
Tarrytown. I love the Tarrytown theme so much. Like it's so like it feels so homely that I love it. There's just so many.
Hateno Village's theme song sticks in my head quite a bit as far
Yeah,
as thinking
Hateno as
about
well.
villages in those two games.
Just man, the soundtrack is so good. It's so good. Anyway, Sky Islands, pretty cool. I love the drop. I just loved how they were crafted, and I just again they did what Breath of the Wild did great, which was here are nearly all the toys in the basket. Have a riot with them, right? And it's like you're just instantly in that kind of I don't know, that kind of puzzle solving brain where it's just like, okay, here's a hook and some wood and do whatever you want. And then you see just the most stupid stuff. And you're like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm a genius. That's easy. That's the intended way. And it probably was the intended way. And then I go onto Twitter and go, yes, let's see what the good Twitter users are doing. And then you just see them like mashing their heads together. And it's just like, I just love how stupid it is, right? Where it's like, you have a rail and a hook. And you're like, okay, I made like a gondola with a fan where I push myself up and I'm sitting
Yeah,
on the underside, right? Like a smart person. And then you've
yeah,
got
that's what
people
I
that
did.
are like, yeah. Then you've got people who are trying to push the wood with just the fan on top of the fucking bar. And then you've got like, yeah, there's just so many stupid things. Or with the fucking Korok in the minecart. And then it's just like some people like, some people are doing it on purpose. Some people are strapping the Korok to the front of the minecart so he acts as the blocker to the
I
other
put him
end.
in the seat
Yeah, I put him
because
in the
I'm not a
seat.
psycho.
Yeah, I put him in the seat like a normal person. It's just like I just love the way that the area kind of teaches you the basics of it, and especially just in the new kind of layout of exploration. Shows you caves, shows you the whole Zonite upgrade system, which seems extremely tedious
I
at first.
forgot about how to upgrade the batteries and stuff by the time I got to the point where I could actually do it. It was very
Well,
funny.
I just want to
I,
say that I think I'm one of the 5 people on the planet that figured out for some reason, because no one knows this. The amount of time Jack didn't know it, the amount of people that didn't know this, Kyle didn't know it, the amount of people on Twitter that don't know it, because every time I see a tutorial where everyone's like, here's how to farm large zonite. Now head on back to the Sky Islands and upgrade your battery. And I'm like, you guys do realize that there's a battery upgrade station right outside of the main fort in the center of the map that's just sitting there, and it's right outside, right next to Pura's station. and it's been there the whole time, and no one ever goes to it, and it's way quicker to get to than the other
forgot.
one.
I legit just forgot what I was looking for.
Yeah, and it's
and
like
didn't feel like looking it up.
It's just like I was like, no, but
so
it's
I just
like,
kept eating the Zonai cores because
the battery upgrades. So I'm just like, it just baffles me sometimes how I'm like, there's people that have played for 100 hours and never noticed that there was right outside of the fort there was a battery upgrade station. I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? You've not done the goblin maneuvers that I did, where I was like scouring the earth with like a metal detector in every fucking inch of it, like trying to find every secret, except for Korok seeds. I purposely didn't do those, but it's like I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, that's cool. You made a fucking sky motorbike that shoots lasers, drops bombs, and fucking obliterates everything in the universe, but you didn't notice the one other battery station on the map that's really obvious. That's a massive sign that's like, it's here. And I'm like, god damn, bro. But no, I really liked the Sky Islands. I liked Raw. Again, it felt familiar, and a part of it I was like, oh, they're doing the Ghost of the Dead fucking King again. I understand they're doing it because it's like, oh, look, it's symbolic. It's the symmetry of the two games. I'm also like, fucking dumb. Can we get it over with? But at the same time, did Breath of the Wild have you fly down on a massive bird machine thing to get back to the temple at the end of it? No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
That's a W for Tears of the Kingdom. But again, I love how the story's kind of linked into it. So you get to the Temple of Time after doing the 3 shrines, and you have the MasterSword wave bye-bye and get sent back in time. Which, I'm not going to lie, I still don't fully understand, to be honest. I still don't... Was that Zelda doing that? Was that Zelda's magic power? Like,
it was, I think so, in a way. Zelda kind of triggered it, along with, I guess, the Fee calling out.
Because I know she is the Sage
Zelda
of Time, right? But I'm also like, could you, like, you could have done so, like, you could have brought anything else as well while you're at it, Like, it's weird. Oh, well. But, so that disappears. Raru fucks off. He's like, my job's done. See you in 100 hours, guys. Peace out. He dips. And then the game's like, off you go. And what I didn't realize, watching the footage back, was where it leaves you, right, by the altar. It literally has, like, it shows you, obviously...
It shows you everything, man.
It shows you the tower, it shows you the 4 areas, it shows you the first one of the...
It shows you the dragon flies by.
Yeah.
It shows you everything important.
Like, it shows you fucking everything. You could technically, if you actually were smart and looked at the dragon at that point, you probably could have seen the MasterSword was there. You probably could have. And I'm like, damn, well, that's what you get for being stupid. Nothing. Because I just instantly... Goblin brain jumped down, off I went, and I was like, where's my fucking glider? And I jumped down. I'm like, because I think that's the first thing everybody did was like, okay, how have I completed the tutorial and not got my glider? When am I getting my glider? And then the next half an hour with you going to the castle, meeting Pura, going to the castle up, coming back down, I'm just like, where's my fucking glider? Like, I want to go away and explore, but I can't do it.
The first thing I did when I touched down was on the way down, I saw a tower and a shrine, and I ran in the direction of both of those. Couldn't do anything with the tower because it was busted and whatever. And then there were gloom hands next to the shrine, so I got beat up and couldn't enter it.
That's the first thing. Yeah, the first thing.
So I was like, okay, you know what? Fine, game. I'll go do your main story mission. Maybe I'll get my hang glider.
I found a shrine, a couple of shrines. I obviously saw the tower that was in the main kind of fortress area, and I was like, okay, cool. Right, I'll head over that way. I saw the big ass fucking hole. I got grabbed by the grabby hands a bit, and then I saw the big hole, and someone was like, so my friend's gone down in the hole and now he can't get back up. And I was like, I'm not jumping down here. I ain't falling for that. I feel like that's like Dark Souls mechanics right there, where they stick a big hole and go, oh, my friend's down there, someone needs to go help, and then you jump down and you also fucking die, and they laugh and you move on, right? I'm like, not falling for that. But I also forgot that the glider existed in the video game, because I was like, look, there's a hot air balloon. I bet you someone will use that hot air balloon later. I didn't even think about going to get a glider to jump down. I was just like, hot air balloon, whatever.
It was much like them taking 7 years to give me my shirt at the beginning of the game. I was wondering when I was going to get my glider. I was like,
I thought we were gonna
You,
spawn
you,
with it. I thought we were gonna start with it. To be honest,
yeah.
I was very shocked that we didn't have it. I was like, oh, this is taking a while to get. And you get to the castle, because obviously Purah's like, hey, Link, we've heard people have seen sightings of Zelda at the castle. Go to the castle. So you go up to the castle, and then you gotta go inform. I can't remember who you're informing. You gotta go inform a soldier. One of the monster squad
Captain
hunters.
Someone. I can't. His name is escaping me right now.
Neither do I. I can't remember. All I remember is I saw.
Starts with an H.
Yeah, I know it. I know it begins with a H as well. I'm like, but it's not Hudson. I don't know who it is.
No, it's not Hudson.
I just remember I saw Addison. That was the first time I saw Addison. Was walking to the
Yeah.
castle.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what I was supposed to do with him. And then I came back like 20 minutes later. I'm like, oh, am I supposed to help you with your sign and not just have you sit there forever? And then I tried it. And then it started a beautiful
There are
relationship
apparently
where I
a bunch
helped
of
him everything.
people who didn't understand that you had to help him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's funny. It clicked with me right away. I was like, oh, he's struggling to keep his sign up. I'll help you, Hudson employee.
And then it became a really toxic relationship where every time I saw him, sometimes I was like, hey, look what you do. Like, and then sometimes I get genuinely mad where I'm like, why are you up here on the mountain? Like, come on. Why? Like, or those like times where
there's no way that Hudson would be condoning this.
yeah. And or there was like the time where we'll talk about the seaside village later, right? But I went on my stupid little 40-minute, 1 hour thing trying to figure out what to do with the wreath garland from Kakariko Village. I thought I figured it out, but I need to travel halfway across the map. And then the amount of times where, because I don't travel by roads or horse, this was the only time I ever did it in the game, because I needed to fucking take this garland. I didn't think of flying because I'm not smart, so I took a horse and off I rode. And the amount of time I passed out, I saw Addison like 4 times on that journey, and I was like, well, guess I'm stopping every single time to help Addison every single time, and then get there and there's a big fucking Hydra dragon that kills me and burns my garland, and I cry and hit my head on the table like 30 times. But started a great relationship. Love Addison. But yeah, I think when the story started becoming interesting to me anyway was with the whole the mystery of the Zelda that was showing up everywhere.
Yeah, it was just like she shows up, disappears in a beam of light, and then it's like, what gives?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, she's off. She looks like the past version of Zelda. She looks like she's wearing the past robes, right? And I think that was really interesting and something that I never really chimed in. I always felt that Zelda wasn't Zelda. Or I was like, okay, that's obviously something that isn't Zelda. I always had that instinct.
It's like there's something off here, regardless of... I didn't know what it was yet either. I was like, weird.
Like, something's off. Something's not right here.
Yeah.
And then I remember, because it's like, you see Zelda all over the place, right? And people are always talking about how they've seen Zelda and stuff like that. Which is interesting, right? Because you can't tell, again, because it's been a 5-year time gap, you can't tell who's talking about Zelda before you both disappeared, who's talking about Zelda after, like, who, if any of the weirds are. So you've got Master Koga's guys who are disguising as Zelda. The one little detail that I loved about that, which I didn't click at first, but then it made so much sense, and I was like, I love that detail, is she's obviously wearing her blue kind of like researcher outfit uniform when she's because that's the only version that they know, and the Ganon fake is only wearing the past costume because that's the only Zelda that he knows. So it's like he doesn't. Well, I guess he does.
It is weird because he did see her before she.
He saw her briefly, but I guess that's the only one he can conjure at the moment. Is that fake? Maybe it's because in the cutscene you saw him like one of the
he conjured the little mirage of her that way. So he's like, I already have this template. I'll use this one.
Maybe it's because he's still weak and he's like, I can only do past tricks from my magic book, no new tricks.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a good detail, so you can tell when it's Ganon pissing about, and you can tell when it's when it's Master Koga and his banana bunch pissing about.
I'm real happy they were in the game again.
I am. I loved them to pieces. It was one of my favorite parts of the game. Was going, oh my god! Like, I didn't even click about that. Like, even when I knew the depths would be in the game because I saw a leak where I
I
saw
didn't
that there was
think about
the
it
depths gameplay.
forever. Like the way I got the way I first discovered the ego was I was in the depths exploring. I didn't discover them down there. It was like one of the things I did led me to their hideout up in the Akala research area.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just, left the depths and yoinky sploinked up through the floor of their hideout, and they were like, "Oh, Link, what are you doing here? Go outside and we'll kill you." I was like, "Well, this is hilarious. I'm glad you're here."
See, I did it a different way, where how I found out about Master Koga and all them lot was I went to the Great Plateau because as soon as you see the fake Zelda, you get your glider and you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
The first thing I did was I went on a whistle stop tour. I was like, okay, time to figure out what the fuck's happened in 5 years. I was like, story, go away. I'm going to Kakariko. I'm going to the Great Plateau. I'm going to everywhere that I can think of right now. Hateno, I'm going everywhere. Tarry Town, off I go. Right, so off I go on my journey. And I went to Hateno, I went to Kakariko first, but I'll say I went to the Great Plateau first because it makes for a more interesting story, because we'll talk about Kakariko later, right? So I went there. I went to the statue and the Temple of Times. I'm like, okay, I'll just go there. I visited the Shrine of Resurrection. It was fucking gone. I'm like, where's all the stuff gone? And obviously, if you read their notes, you figure out that they took everything down because they were scared of what if the Calamity comes back, or what if somebody else sabotages and twists that machinery against them. Which I'm like, fair enough. Makes sense. Also, how do you dispose of 4 great divine beasts? Where have they been fucking yeeted to? I would have loved to have at least seen them like dismantled in the desert or something like that, Would have been cool.
Yeah.
They just disappeared. It's fine. But so I headed there, and then I talked to the statue at the Temple of Time, and then it was demonic, and it was asking me to do shit.
I loved that quest.
It freaked me the fuck out, and I left for about 5 hours because I was like, no, not today, Satan. And I ran
by
away.
the time I had gotten around to doing that, we had already done our first impressions, and you had mentioned that, and I'm like, I wonder what it is that scared Ethan so much up here. And the statue was talking to me, and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
and then going down, I was like, oh, I'm like reassembling pieces of stuff. This is neat.
Yeah, so I grabbed the first eye. This is how I found out, right? So I grabbed the first eye and I took it down. And then as you were leaving that room, I ascended because I couldn't figure out how the fuck to get out. So I accidentally ascended, and where I ascended was where the fucking 2 Yiga clan members were above me, where you get the Master Build. So I accidentally stumbled on Master Build and Koga and the Yiga all in one fucking foul swoop by accident because I was just trying to be lazy and get out. And I was like,
nice.
Well, that's cool. Guess I'm not leaving the depths until I finish this Koga quest line. So then I just did the Koga thing like instantly, and then off I went. It's just a brilliant little side quest. I think that's what I love about this game is the side quest felt a lot more substantial. Where I felt like there were a few in the original, like Tarry Town, where I was like, okay, this is cool. I've actually made an impact here. There's some cool stuff going on here. But it's like you go to Hateno Village and you've got the whole the whole political landscape of the mushroom people versus the boomers.
It's like every town or village had something interesting going on this time, and it was neat.
100%. Really Kakariko had all the research going on. Obviously, I loved that. Impa fucking fucked off in a hot air balloon. Off she went. What pride?
Like, I'm going to see the world, Paya. Have fun.
Yeah, and then Paya's been left to deal with it, which I liked. I can't remember what his name was. The researcher guy. I liked him as well. Big muscly dude. He was cool. I liked him. But yeah, so you have that. You have the whole Hateno Village political spectrum thing, which I'm like, that's funny. That's fucking wild. Because that's also, I went there too, because that's the first place I remember saying
that was one of the first places I visited.
To my house!
Hateno was, I'm like, I'm going to the house. Zelda appropriated the house.
I was so fucking angry. I was so angry. I was like, she stole my fucking house. Like,
Zelda, you have a castle. Why'd you gotta do me like this?
I was like, damn, bro. Poor Link, dude. He can't catch a break. It's like, yeah.
Can't have anything in Hyrule.
Thank you for saving me from my 100-year fight against the Calamity. I'm having your house. Goodbye. And I was like, no. This is unacceptable behavior. But I remember, finding the diary because I just jumped straight in the well like a goo. I didn't even go to the house first. I was just like, yoinky sploinky, I see a well, jump, and I found her like there. I'm like, oh, cool. She's got, and read the thing, found Link's little hairband or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is cute. They really tried their hardest to be like, hey guys, hey shippers, we got you covered. We're not gonna say it, but we've got you covered. I was like, I appreciate that. I just don't know why they were cowards and just didn't fucking go all in, to be honest, because I'm like,
I agree.
who's playing Zelda?
Sure.
Like, what? Scared of 8-year-olds playing Zelda, dude? Like, what? That all your audience is in the 20s and 30s. Like, come on.
And like, come on. Back in the day, you were showing the moon destroying the world and stuff, which is much more harmful to 8-year-olds than Link and Zelda's relationship could ever be.
I love it because it's so stupid, because they're like, we won't say that they're together, but
it'll be
we'll call the house Zelda's house, we'll still
evident.
let him sleep in the bed, and we will just write a note that says that he doesn't leave her the fuck alone. So it's either they're together or he's a stalker. You choose, guys. You choose. And I'm like, okay, cool. Especially because in the Japanese version, I told you about this because I was like, in the Japanese version, it's still called Zelda's house, but when she's talking about it in the diary, she says it's our house. So it's like it's a plural, and I'm like, what are you doing, Nintendo of America? You fucking babying us over
Japan gets the better version of all of that because, again, like in Breath of the Wild, the quest log is from Link's point of view again, too, if I understood correctly this time around. That's a little detail that I would really appreciate.
It's really... I don't want to say it's dumb, right? Because Nintendo of America, they do a good job, right? They do a decent job, should I say. But I don't know if this is just personal bias, but I think that Nintendo of America does the worst job of localization between them and Europe, because I feel like when you go to like Xenoblade and you read all the Xenoblade stuff and you hear the Xenoblade voices and stuff like that, it's just like they keep the personality there, if that makes sense, where it's like sometimes Nintendo of America takes something and then they go, okay, let's make it like we don't want to have personality. We just want it to be fun
That's
for
too
everyone.
spicy for the kids.
Well, it's not just it's just not even that. I mean, have you heard the Xenoblade X dub compared to the other ones? Like, it's just so bland. Where I'm like, that's what puts me off Xenoblade X. Don't tell Kyle, everybody. It's not the fact that it's different to everything else. It's because it's American. Cringe. Gross.
That's understandable.
But it's like whenever you hear it's just like sometimes when you hear, Nintendo of Europe naming schemes and then Nintendo of America, I'll always hate how in Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 7 that in Europe and all our markets, we have the track called Melody Motorway, and then they just called it Music Park in America. And I'm like...
Music Park?
Yep. I'm like... Do you guys not know what a motorway is? Do you not know what a melody is? Do you not like alliteration? What is wrong with you? Melody Motorway is the better name. Like, what are we doing?
Sure is.
But oh well, I digress. But no, I love doing that. I think my favorite... I have two particular side quest moments that were my favorites, to be honest, and then I'll let you... I don't know if you were feeling similar. But two of my favorite side quests in this game is, one, I loved the beach village, the taking back the beach village.
That was so cool.
With Bolson.
Because I heard so many NPCs chatting about the pirates ruining their home, and I had encountered these pirates a couple of times by the time I had made my way to Lurelin Village, and I was like, all right, time to liberate these guys.
Yeah. I was the same way, and I heard a couple of people. I was like, okay, let me go see what it's about. And then I went in there, and I got absolutely battered because the pirates were super buff, and I was like, right, well, I'll see you in 30 hours. I'll be back. But I just love how much personality that little side quest chain has. Like how similar to Tarrytown, the place is completely changed by the time you've left it. There's a whole village there now. There's more buildings than there was before even the pirates took over, right? It's like... it's just such a fun quest line, and I loved Bolson in the original game, so to see Bolson back again, even if he did make me shove way too many pine trees into the same fucking hole.
That's true.
He really loved sticking fucking palm trees, not pine trees, palm trees, into the stupid little holes. But I liked
It's
it.
okay.
It was fun.
Zelda doesn't care about pine trees versus other trees. I'm pretty sure pine cones dropped out of trees that were
Every
demonstrably
tree, yeah,
not
everything's
pine
a pine
trees.
tree. Everything, it's very true. But I loved that one. And again, you get little bits of all you Z-Link shippers, have fun with that photo. And yes, that was what I tried to do, because he's mentioned something about, hey, she keeps going to Lover's Pond. And also, they mentioned how in Kakariko Village, not as many people go to Lover's Pond anymore because of the Kakariko Village thing, the stupid little, what I like to call it the Christmas decoration, the wreath, right? The Lover's wreath thing.
The ring
so
garland.
I was like, 1 + 1 = 2. Go to Lover's Pond at 6 p.m. with the wreath. Bingo. Where's my reward? Fucking nothing. Took me 2 hours to find that. Nothing. The 6 p.m. thing's just, if you go at 6 p.m., fairies appear there. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the tweet. That's the reward. But, there's plenty of stuff like that all around the game, really. And I love that. My second one is, again, Tarrytown with Hudson and his daughter. That was
real cool.
I can't remember what the daughter's name was. Is it Addison? What's
Madison?
Madison, isn't it? Yeah. I love her so much. She's so goofy with her stupid. She has Hudson's hair, and
I really love how Gerudo genetics are so strong that
the only thing that
they're
comes
always
through is
going to be
hairline.
female, but Hudson's hairline genetics are stronger than even the Amazonian Gerudo.
I just it was just like, you get these kind of a couple of areas where it's like, okay, obviously more time has passed. We were all thinking it'd be like a year, 2 years. It's obviously closer to 5 to 7 years since Breath of the Wild. But it's just like, I just love that whole, I just love that whole thing. And like I say, Madison is very adorable. And it's like when you go back to Gerudo Town and you see her running around with a stupid fucking haircut, I just couldn't help but like smile, because again, she's so fucking goofy looking. But also it's like, I love Hudson. Hudson is just like,
he's great.
I think Hudson's brilliant. He was one of my favorites in the original. Tarrytown is my favorite quest in Breath of the Wild. I just love the whole kind of family vibe it is, where it's like, it's like making a village, making friends, making a family out of all these people, all these basically
all across the world. It's great.
All these outcasts, basically, all these people that have decided to live together as one instead of living in their respective areas. I just love that. So then to have this kind of moment where you've got obviously Madison and you've got Hudson, and this whole saying goodbye, especially to her dad, because her mum can go and visit technically, right? But and it's just like, it's just, it's so like kind of heartbreaking. The fucking hot air balloon at the end, dude. And then when you go to Gerudo Town and the hot air balloon's there, and you're just like, oh man, I love that quest. I love how interactive these side quests are compared to the original. I just love how they feel like they have a lasting effect. A lot of them, like there was the house, and there was Tarrytown in the original, and that was about it in terms of interactivity. Whereas this one has been so much
collectively in Breath of the Wild, I felt like helping the Gerudo. Like, I know a lot of it on their own was still kind of the menial chores thing, but I feel like if you stack them against each other, it kind of makes this, you just helped the whole town, and now, despite them catching you being a man, they don't care kind of thing. I liked that. I thought that was cool in Breath of the Wild, but as far as my favorite side quests in this game, I really liked the Stable Trotters quest with the finding musicians and stuff. Yeah. I thought that was cool. It had the extra benefit of helping me upgrade my clothes.
Yeah, I love how goofy the characters are in the Stable Trotters, stable heroes.
Little Mario conductor.
The little Wario conductor, you've got the girl that way too many people on Twitter needed to chill out about.
The violinist named
dude.
Violin.
Yeah. You've got the nerd, the stoner dude, and the weird 8-year-old that for some reason has been allowed by his family to go and travel with all these freaks. And you're like, okay, cool. I love this. It's stupid. I just loved how bizarre the quest line was as well, where it's like, oh, one of them's just got themselves stuck in a crater somewhere. Off you go and root them out. You have
This
to keep
other one
driving them
set the
everywhere.
tree or whatever on fire. That was the kid. I forget what he lit on fire, but he lit something on fire that
Yeah,
upset
he
one
was
of the
like,
stable hands
yeah, he
because
wanted
he
to. He
didn't know
wanted
how to
the little
collect
kid wanted to,
fireflies.
like, I don't know if it was a firework or whatever, but he wanted to say goodbye to his friend, like cheer his friend up or whatever. And I was like, that's silly, but it works. Whatever gets you in the gang. I did like the stable trotters one quite a
Yeah,
bit.
and then I also liked the newspaper
Hmm.
one. Like just all of that was fun because it was again chasing. I did this after the memories too, so
Oh, I
it
did
was
it
kind of
before.
yeah. So it was funny to have the benefit of hindsight with all of this,
Yeah.
being like, oh, there's a mysterious blonde woman doing spooky stuff over in this corner of the world. I wonder if the Yiga are going to attack me.
Oh, there's just all the like. There were just some really funny ones that, again, this game didn't go to the places where I thought. I thought this game would be creepier than it was, and there were some creepy things. Like I say, the statue that you go to a friendly statue and all of a sudden it's evil or whatever, and you like satanic ritual go away, right?
The statue was a friend in the end, anyway.
And yeah, and like the depths are relatively, because they're dark, they're relatively creepy or whatever. But I didn't think there were moments like that. The one that was standing out to me with the newspaper was the one with the woman in the well, where someone was like, "There's
Oh
people are
yeah,
going into
that was
they're
a good
hearing
one.
noises from a well at night or whatever," and it's just a woman that's just sing. It's just sing. I don't remember. She's singing while she's cleaning something
Yeah,
up or
she was
whatever.
singing something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, cool. And it's like, I thought this game would be creepier than it ended up being in the end.
They gave me the impression that it was going to be creepier than it was too. And maybe that was just kind of me being like, oh, Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, this one Majora's Mask kind of headspace, but it's not really a sticking point with me as far as that's concerned.
The same. I mean, I can see where they were going with it. There's different pieces. I think the main problem with this game is, if you do the memories first, like we did, then it kind of makes a lot of the story irrelevant, which I think is not necessarily bad, right? But it's like they don't do the Zelda, that Zelda's not real thing until like 15 hours before the end.
It's like the kickoff to the final act, essentially.
Yeah. And it's like, damn, I wish you guys would have either one had that further up, or I love that you were able in this game to do whatever the fuck you want and just go and do it, right? Very happy about that. I also wouldn't have minded you gatekeeping some of the memories to the tiers till later.
Yeah.
Just
if you were to
keep the
curate
flow
some
better.
if I could have had the sword memory curated from me so that I didn't see that one second, that would have been great.
Or yeah, have an order to them. You could have made it something else. You could have made it something else. I feel like if you had it one at a time, you'd see the dragon actually like making the thing. It would have made it a bit more obvious of what the dragon was. But also, I feel like
even then, a lot of people wouldn't connect the dots right away.
Well, they would when they hear Memory 3, where they're like, "Oh, if you eat the magic bee and you turn into a dragon."
Yeah, maybe
also don't say that.
Maybe put that in, maybe don't be so obvious with that information.
Maybe. But no, let's so we talked about a lot of side quests. There's plenty of them. There's a lot to like about the side quests. There's the Yiga stuff is a lot of fun as well. Not just the Yiga clan itself, but also some of the Yiga side quests, getting the armor, sneaking into
sneaking
areas.
into the mission.
Yeah.
Honestly, because of them being able to have more variety to how they were harassing you this time, they were more fun to deal with in general too.
The one that fucking
because like
the hell out of me.
In Breath of the Wild, it was easy to tell. It was like, oh, suspicious traveler. You don't look like one of the merchants I've talked to, and you're trying to get my attention. I know what you're about to do.
Dude, the one that got me that I didn't even fucking chime on, like the one that got me, gave me a fucking heart attack. Well, it didn't give me a heart attack, but it annoyed the shit out of me. Was speaking of Lurelin Village, you have to go and grab all the wood, right? So I went
Yeah.
out, and I thought that this was scripted because it was that well fucking placed. They were disguised as trees outside of Lurelin. So then when I get my big axe out, going fucking Papa needs wood, off I go, and I hit it, and the tree's like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing here?" I'm like. I was like, what the fuck?
Between that and the trees that are actually alive, it is the definition of trust issues.
Dude, I don't trust trees anymore with the trees that are alive. We're running around. If I ever see a tree have an apple on it, I'm like, you're bait. I'm not going near you.
Especially if the apple's golden. But so it was funny because I got the Yiga tree disguise thing. Like they did it once while it was the one newspaper thing with the chicken telling you to go chop the tree down and bring you part of it back or whatever. They did it for that, and I figured, oh, that's funny. I didn't think they were gonna do it again when I actually went to go and like cut a tree down. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Or like when it was really funny, the one where they just start throwing bananas on the ground, and it's like, because I knew about their presence in the game already, I'm like, I know what this is, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Just pick up a banana, and it's like, what do you think you'll do it? What do you think you're doing, mate?
Putting the Yiga outfit on when you get it and doing that's real funny, because they'll be like, hey, those are a trap for Link, get your own.
Oh, do they? That's funny.
Yeah.
Or just like the ones with Zelda. There's just like Zelda, like I don't know if you saw that. Obviously, there's one Zelda was in a cage. That was one of them, and it's just like there you go, like yeah. But did you get this one? This one creeped me out. This is why I don't fucking like going to the Great Plateau in this game. Creepy fucking place, creepy vibes. You know the campfire that the king sits at?
Oh, yeah.
Zelda was just standing there, and I'm like, well, I know this is a fucking trap, but off I go.
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, and Zelda acts like Link in the Breath of the Wild, where she's forgotten her memories, and she's like, I don't know who I am. And the two options are you're Zelda or you're an enemy. And either one, they're like, yeah, you're right. And then just kill me, like, just, go into the trap. And
oh, man, there's one of my favorite interactions with them is just the random, like, schmucks. Well, they'll pretend to be, like, a researcher, and they'll just talk nonsense about, I think it's this, blah, blah, blah. And Link can just be like, I agree. Yes, very good. Whatever. And they'll be like, you don't even know what I'm saying. The audacity of you. Time to die.
Yeah, it's funny. I like it. I like them quite a bit. I guess we should talk about... Well, there's three things that we should talk about, probably. Well, four things we should talk about, probably, in terms of exploration. There's the depths, the skies, the shrines, and then obviously the tiers. I feel like we can run through them real quick. Obviously, the big selling point on the box art was the skies, which I think is the smallest part of the exploration in terms of this game.
It is the smallest part as far as the actual amount of things that you can solid ground to stand on.
And I mean, I liked the Sky Islands. I thought they were pretty cool. I like that they added a lot of fun kind of gameplay dynamics. I liked the diving challenges. I thought those were pretty fun.
Oh yeah, the diving challenges was good. I liked the outfit you got for doing those. It was
the gliding outfit. Yeah, that
gliding
was pretty cool.
suit.
That was pretty cool. I liked that quite a bit. I liked how they played with, and they did this especially in the mazes, where they played with different levels of going up and down. So it was like you did the maze on the base level to do the base, then you went up to the maze in the sky, and then you dive down into the depths. Or in the same vein, there's the one above the lake, where there's the gems in the sky, and you have to chuck it down a hole and then jump into the whirlpool. Stuff like that. I just really liked it. I thought they were pretty clever. I also, I liked that it's like the sages, the stones that to upgrade the sage, which I didn't really do, to be honest, because I didn't use the sage abilities that much.
I only found enough to upgrade one of those, so I was like, congratulations, Toolin. Yeah,
that's the exact same thing I did. But I liked that they were tied to the sky, so there was a reason to go up there if you wanted to carry on exploring. There wasn't many shrines up there. There was like 30 or so, but I was like...
Yeah, 30 or so.
And most of them were rewards shrines for puzzles.
Yeah, most of them were good job for finding the crystal. Here you go.
But no, there were some cool things. I liked the anti-gravity areas. Those were pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that was neat.
I loved the little Death Star puzzles where you had to go into the spheres and figure out how to get in.
Spin it around and stuff.
There was some fun stuff in the skies. I liked them quite a bit.
Yeah. the flux constructs with like the bosses up
Mm.
there. I feel like those were a fun little evolution of the stone talus in a way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Even though those are still in the game, but I feel like
Yeah, I feel like
this
they
is
did
kind of
the
like
little evolution
use the
of all of
mechanics
them.
of this game to fight this.
Or, you know, in similar veins, like how the Hydra dragons are kind of an evolution of the really annoying Linus. You know, you got the big
Oh
ball
yeah,
things, the Linuxes. Is it Linux?
Lionel.
Linals, that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
fucking hell. You know me and names don't get on well. But yeah, the Lionels and the dragons. I saw one
Gleox.
dragon in the sky. I was just cruising, and it was like the king one, and it was like the King Gleon or whatever, Gleok or whatever, and it had like all three elements on it, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I ran. I took a photo of it and ran away. I was like,
Oh yeah, you did the picture for Kilton.
yeah, I found it by accident. I was like, oh no.
Oh, that's funny. But I didn't find the King Gleok until forever because eventually because I realized, on the map it was like, okay, so clearly the depths mirror the surface as far as things that are, if there's something interesting on the surface, there will be something interesting corresponding. And like I had went to Eventide Island really early on in the game, and I realized that, and I did the little Colosseum in the depths and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I didn't really, I didn't think to apply that logic to the sky as well, and that's where one of the King Gleoks was over in the little floating island above.
The one that I
Eventide
found
Island.
was near up in the top left in the mountains, in the Hebra Mountains. I think it was right next to either where the shield surfing hut is, or it was right next to the village. So it was pretty close to one of them.
Yeah, it was.
But no, I liked the skies. The depths I wasn't as hot on. I thought they were fine. They were also my least favorite thing to explore though, because there's some cool stuff, and I think especially in the early hours, it's a really fun challenge and kind of almost it's very nerve-wracking experience going down there because you don't have much to fight
I was really
with.
motivated to like explore and stuff early on, but it was one of those things that it was the further along in the game I got, I'm like, I don't really have time for you.
I did all the light routes, but I won't lie to you, I just built a bike and flew fucking around the whole thing and did it in like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
There's cool ideas that I like. I like the monsters. I like the idea of having to upgrade your going into the depths to upgrade your battery. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, honestly, the way the game lays itself out with the areas all kind of feed you stuff that will direct you into the other ones in a way.
They've got a nice little
the Sky
loop to
Islands constantly have those treasure maps that'll send you to the depths, which is for as much as it makes me giggle, I'm like, if it's for an item down there, how'd it get up here? But then it's still a good little feedback loop to be like, oh, now I'm going finding more treasure, and it usually excites me to find like the cool items from other games in the series in the boxes down there.
Yeah, definitely. I do like that kind of loop, and I also like, I like that there's bosses. There's a challenge there. The weird frog kind of things. I can't remember what they're
My
called.
first encounter with that was
called
the Frogs.
Yeah, the frogs. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was I think it was the crater in the middle of Akala, I believe, had it was like the super juiced one even. It was like the obsidian frogs. And I just like, it was like, okay.
Hopped in. I did the exact same thing.
I'm like, I'm feeling saucy right now. There's a treasure down there somewhere that I'm in this general area. So I just jumped in, and then I heard the boss music, and I was like,
wow. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I think they're pretty cool. I like how you can refight dungeon bosses down there as well.
That was fun. Nice. I didn't actually do that, but I did one because at one point I just hitched a ride on one of the dragons for an entire loop and just looked around, and I saw like the Goron boss down there. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like how there's the Colosseums, they're pretty cool. The Lionel Colosseums and stuff like that. I like those. They're pretty cool. there's some interesting stuff, but it also does feel the most barren. I like the way they did it. I like the way they thought about it, where they were like, okay, this links to this in the fact that, shrines are light routes. And, if there's a village on top, there's a mine at the bottom, and if there's points of interest, they kind of match up. I liked the way that worked, especially when you figure it out. But I also was like, it may be the thing that I pass on if eventually in years down the line, if I play this game again. I definitely won't explore the depths as thoroughly as I did the first time.
In a way, it's almost like the depths are... They've got like the similar scale, and because it's as big as the overworld, but it has about as much to, it's like it has as much to do as Breath of the Wild did, rather than the density of what's up with the game this time around.
Definitely, and I do feel stuff like the Master Koga questline did really help to give, and the post statues and everything about it.
Oh yeah,
I feel like, and the big quest, like say the creepy statue at the Temple of Time, right? I feel like stuff like that did add some personality to the depths that I feel like it needed.
Otherwise it would have just been like, oh, it's dark down here,
and there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
I still would have liked more quests down there, to be honest, because I feel like there are certain hotspots for things to do, and then a lot of just fighting and mining if you care for that. And a couple of temples. We'll get to those pretty quickly. Shrines. I think the shrines were a massive step up in this game.
Yeah, I think that's largely in part because I like the tool set you get in Tears of the Kingdom a little bit more than the tool set we get in Breath of the Wild. On top of that, though, I feel like it was funny because in the first impressions we were talking about, how have we only seen like 20 of these? Where are all of them? But then by the time that either you or I got to, you had done like 100 shrines by the time you got the sensor. I did like 90. I feel like they laid them out in a way that finding them was more organic.
They were better placed this time around. One compliment that I can give this game that I did not give to Breath of the Wild, I had to look up shrine locations in Breath of the Wild. The last, when I got to 80 and I was trying to find the final 40, some of them were in such garbage locations where I was like, I can't figure this out for the life of me. This game, I managed to find all of them without looking. I did have the sensor on eventually to try and find some of them, and some of them were a pain in the arse with the caves. I think the cave system is interesting. I also could have done without the caves in the overworld. I think that bubble gems are not worth the fucking trade-off of where the hell's the entrance sometimes. I know you can follow the little rabbit.
I think it would have been a little better if maybe there were less caves.
100%. There's so many.
Yeah, because there's just so many of them, right? And I really did like sometimes exploring them, and they just kept going, and I was like, I'm just gonna be here. The one that was
castle.
The castle. I was exploring that one forever, and I was like, I'm just gonna be here forever, and I'm not upset by that, but I also have to go to bed.
I don't mind the bubble gems and the bubble frogs, right? I don't mind them, and they were a cool idea, but there's so many of them. Same goes for wells, right? When that well lady was like, there are 86 wells, I was like,
I made peace with the fact that I was not going to do all of that.
Neither do I. I don't mind.
I did all of the side adventures when I finished the game, but how they have it divided, 60 adventures and 130 side quests. I was missing I don't know, 20, 25 side quests.
I was the same way. I did all the adventures and was missing about 20 odd side quests, and I was like, they're all going to be fetch quests and bullshit, so I'm fine with not having done them. I'm fine with that. But I do feel some of the wells and stuff like that, they are cool. If you hop down there and you've got a whole little cave system or whatever to look at, I'm like, that's pretty cool. I like that idea. But I was really
hoping for one of them. I was specifically hoping that the one in Kakariko Village you were gonna jump down there and it was gonna be creepy, because in Ocarina of Time, the Beneath the Well dungeon was the little appetizer for the Shadow Temple, and I was really hoping, and the one in Kakariko Village turned out not to be that. It was the secret hideaway for the kid who was learning how to cook. And I kept jumping down them in hopes that I would find a creepy well, and I didn't. So I guess if
I'm
someone
glad I
explored
didn't
all of
find a
the
creepy
wells,
well, to be honest.
if someone explored all of the wells and found one that was creepy, please tell me where it was.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It scared me shitless though if I fucking jumped down a well and it was creepy. I was like, oh god, I'd turn the fucking game off. It'd be crazy. But no, I did like I like them, but also I was like, I'm fine without doing everything like that. Whereas the shrines, I was like, the shrines were so good where I was like, man, I need to do these because there wasn't really one where I was like, and there was a couple where I'm like, it's fine, but most of them I was like, I rarely felt a miss.
There was
really.
only one where I lost my patience with it, and even then
Which
I
one was
still
that?
found the one where you had to make the balls roll into the switch.
Oh, we both gave up and just fucking.
We just shot it with a bomb. Yeah.
Well, no, you shot it with a bomb. I fused the ball to a stick and threw the stick at the fucking thing. I was like, I don't want this 2 damage spear anyway, and just fucking yeeted it.
Yeah.
Part of me still thinks that that's the actual solution, by the way. I still think that's
See-
the actual solution because this.
See, and like even then, I still didn't lose my patience to the point of looking up the solution. I just was like,
I never looked up the solution.
I knew that collision triggered switches by that point, regardless of what came from it or what it came from.
There was the one that was like the ping pong, like the
Oh,
was
the
the
little
one that was the
pinball
kind
flipper.
of the pinball flipper that you had to do.
Yeah.
That one was quite funny.
I
There was
liked
the
that
one
one.
where you had to use the rails to kind of make a little mine cart that would ride on the rails and get to the end.
Oh yeah.
And most people I saw, like people, like I feel like I had to think, I had to sit down and properly think. Like I was like, I got my engineering degree on there, where I was like, okay, if this does this, then I remember going to Twitter and everyone being like, damn, I had to sit and think about this one, or I had to come back to this one. I'm like, I love how we all just like were like, yeah, it's time to think, like, because it's like it was very, and I
got to this shrine before I found before I had the wonderful idea of fusing the minecart to the shield.
I never even did that. So, yeah, I never did that in the game.
Like, I got to this shrine before that, but it was like I eventually thought of doing that. I'm like, that is fantastic.
I got even more annoyed because I watched Sam do that shrine and he literally just bomb jumped it, and I'm like, Sam, you're great and all, but I really hate how all your solutions to every fucking puzzle is, and then I bomb jump. And then it's like, there you go. It's like the one where you have to build the drawbridges and stick them back together with glue. He did not stick anything back together with glue. He just bomb jump. Off he went into the sky.
There was one that I had a friend watching me play for a lot of my playtime, and one of the shrines, it was funny. It was the one with the wings that fly you over the chasm, but don't fly you far enough to actually get you there. And I was sitting there. This was early enough into the game that sometimes I was still forgetting Ascent existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was sitting there trying to finagle like 2 wings to like one float above me with the ultra hand and then reverse it so it'd be at a high enough altitude to fly me over there.
Yeah.
And then my friend was very helpfully like, why don't you just use your weird alien
uppy doodle
swim thing? And I'm like, oh, thank you. I am gonna do that.
There was multiple times where I was like, oh yeah, we have Ascend, and then that was the solution to everything, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. There was one, I don't remember, one of the only one that I cheesed and bomb jumped was like one of the final ones, and it was just because it was like, it was a vertical shrine, and it was very annoying. It was like, I can't remember what the specifics were of it, but it was just like, I was done at that point. Like, I was tapped out. I was like, I'm on 118. It's time to fucking tap. Like, I'm done. Let me out of here. But for the most part, I think most of them are really well designed. I also loved how they got rid of the stupid, hey, look, here's a guardian. Kill it. And I'm like, they changed them to, here's a scenario. Beat it. I liked those more.
Yeah, it was like mini Eventide Islands.
Yeah. They were all like little mini Eventide Island kind of Trials of the MasterSword kind of little things. I was like, I like those quite a bit. Those were fun.
I liked those sometimes. More early on in the game, it was a little heartbreaking that I couldn't keep the materials I was gathering.
Oh, that was annoying.
Because like I saw level 3 captain got his horn dropped on the ground. I'm like, I can't wait to fuse you to my sturdy stick when I get my inventory back. And then it despawned. I was like, no! I was about to have an actual sword instead of the little 3-pronged shank that I've been carrying around.
Dude, Link would do well in prison, you know? He'd do well in prison. Like, you wouldn't mess with Link with his fuse ability, dude.
Honestly, I wouldn't mess with Link. Link could be unpowered in this game, and he's still like the most physically capable version of himself he's ever been.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely crazy. But no, I really did appreciate all of the shrines this time around. I think they were great, and I had a blast doing all of them, so can't complain.
They're a placement for the ones on the way to the dungeons or the temples was good too, because it, had relevant mechanics to what you were about to deal with too. Yeah. It was nice.
Like that. I'm going to put it as a separate timestamp because that timestamp was fucking huge. So I'll do you guys a favor. We'll talk about the dragon tiers next. We'll do it. I fortunately got a pretty good order. I did them in a random order, but I think I bar a couple. I think the second one was a pretty late one. But most part, I got most of mine in order. I was kind of shocked at how well I did in terms of getting the order right. So, to me, the only one that I didn't get early was like the earlier one with Minoru where she was talking. So I did. Fortunately,
that was one of the last ones I got too, actually. But unfortunately, one of the first ones I got after, it was like literally memory 2 or 3. It was the one with the MasterSword, where it flashes back to the conversation with Minoru anyway. And I'm like, so I just came out of that one, and then it was like, it was like essentially all of the thing. It was like getting the quest obtained and then quest complete marker go off like 3 times with me putting the information together. And I was like, well, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, I think what was funny for me was it was like, it was trying to figure it all out. So it was like when I was like, I'm trying to figure it all out. And the first hint that I got was it's going to take a really long time to fix the MasterSword. And I'm like, okay, really long time. And then I was like, something in my brain was like, it's the fucking dragon, isn't it? And I'm like, because it's like what's been around for forever and is new. And I'm like, it's the fucking dragon. And then obviously, literally the next one over, I then figured out, because I'm like, Zelda's the fucking dragon. I'm like, oh, for God. And then it's like, then everything clicks in, that Link, you have to find me kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that wasn't just some kind of bullshit kind of
so
please
the
help.
Funny thing about watching that final trailer was it led me to a line of thinking that, while not exactly the same, was pretty close to what we got. I did not call the dragon bit at all, but what I was thinking was like Zelda was going to replace the MasterSword spirit, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is the same idea, just a different way of doing it, essentially. And I was like, so eventually the dragon thing clicked, and I was like, oh, it was like I was left feeling very similar to how I felt during like the beginning of the 3rd act of Nier Automata.
The despair syndrome kicked in.
I was like, every 30 minutes or so, I'm like, man, this is upsetting.
Yeah, dude, it was, and it made the going around fucking depressing. Like, it was like, I just became that kind of fucking emo goth kid. Like, as soon as I was walking around, like, I was just walking around and everyone's like, oh, I wonder where Zelda is. And I'm just like, she's dead, move on. She's the fucking dragon, piss off, die in a hole, and then move away, like, walk away. And someone's like, dude, he's 8. Why are you bullying him? Like, what's he done? He's just wondering where Zelda is.
When I got the sword, it was funny because, first of all, the best sword draw in the series, and it's not even close. The whole ordeal about getting it too was really cool, with the wrestling it with the stamina and whatnot. I had to go back and upgrade my stamina for
I
that,
predicted
though.
that. I'm very proud of myself for predicting that because I was like, okay, it was hearts last time. Bet it's stamina this time just to fuck with people so that they go and get their 13 hearts and then go, stupid bugger, try
Luckily,
again.
I had like 12 blessings banked already, so I just needed to do like 4 shrines and I was set. But I got the sword, and one of the side quests I got was like over in the near Lurelin, but not in like the rainforesty area off to the left there, where they were like, there are these 3 Hinoxes in the caves harassing us and whatnot. We need you to deal with this. And I had got it a while ago, but after I got the MasterSword, I was like, I'm sad. I need to kill something. So I'm like, I'm gonna go kill these Hinoxes.
Because obviously you have some great scenes. You know, you have the revelations of obviously you get Zelda's in time, Zelda's trapped in time in the past. She's obviously met the first king and queen of this version of Hyrule, whether it is a retcon of new universe or what I tend to believe is something happened where the world did a reset, like Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like
kind of like, in essence, Hyrule could be similar to, like, I don't know, Atlantis or something, where the idea of it existed and got lost, and then someone just kind of repopulated it.
That's what I like to think is,
Hyrule.
similar to like Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Where it's like the old world is still there, and we have the bits and remnants of it, like the sea salt from the Great Sea and all that jazz. You have like the hints to the past, right? But like this Rauru and Sonya are kind of like a new kind of lineage, right? Of,
new beginning.
New beginning, which I think I was completely fine with, right? And then you obviously
like, even I'm more of the opinion that they kind of just exist in their own continuity because Nintendo already doesn't really care about the Zelda continuity. So just kind of, but either way, it works.
Like I say, I like it. I like how no one questions that they're like, oh yeah, Zelda's just a relative of ours. I'm like, oh really? I'm gonna call.
How did the genetics work on that one?
It'd be really funny if someone was like, "Which side?" And then, you fucking what side? Like, who do you think you are, dude?
I don't know, man. She has Rauru's eyes or something.
I'm just
certainly not his bodily proportions. Do you ever realize how that guy's like 80% torso?
Yeah, 100%. It just makes me laugh where it's like, imagine going back in time and then finding out, oh yes, your great grandfather was a goat, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing, Sonya? Like, excuse me, come again. But no, I liked them. They were pretty fun. Matt Mercer was obviously having a lot of fun with Ganon. I liked Ganon quite a bit. His stupid face put me out of that one scene.
Oh my god.
Very much so.
That face is great. It's going to be used as a meme reaction forever now. I like this version of Ganondorf a lot. Yeah, it's great. Like, it's the most psychotic he's ever been, and it's fantastic.
Again, I'm kind of sad that they didn't kind of mix the Calamity lore into it. I feel like there would have been a very simple explanation of he's trapped, but his kind of soul. That's my kind of headcanon is like the kind of the malice, the hatred of Ganon inside of him kind of was leaking.
Yeah, it's like a primal. It's like a primal
kind of nature
ghost, essentially, which they didn't really explain at all. The most we got was Zelda being like, his name makes me suspicious. In the one memory where he was talking to
I just hate how nobody everyone's like, the Calamity Ganon, and then when Zelda hears the words Ganon, she doesn't go, wait, what the fuck? We had a Ganon. He was this weird fog fucker, and like no one she never ever mentions that, and I'm like, that's so dumb, because especially when it's like, you can kind of make implications, right, of when Link and Zelda properly sealed away Ganon, that might have started his awakening process very much, where it's like, okay, you've returned his primal nature back to him, so he's slowly escaping.
Maybe it accelerated the seal there.
Yeah, or something like that. It's just it's bizarre to me, but obviously, you have Sonya die, you have the champions fail, blah 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 blah. We put all our hope in Link. We'll talk about having to watch the same cutscene fucking 4 times in a row later.
Yeah.
But then having the whole realization, Minoru, we can get to that later. I'm not particularly fond. I think Minoru is fine. I think
I thought
that
she was okay,
she's the
but
weakest link to me. In the that there was no pun intended there, but she's the weakest of the main cast to me, in my opinion. I'm not
yeah,
counting
it's
the
like I
champ.
don't
I'm not
really.
counting like
Yeah,
Yunobo and shit like that. I'm counting like
yeah,
Ru,
like
Sonya,
I don't really.
Minoru, Zelda,
I
Ganon.
I had a. They were treating her near the end like she was a main cast character, and I kind of lumped her in more with like the champions with Sidon and Riju and Tuolin and whatnot.
Nah, she was more
closer
important than them.
Well, I guess, but
Also
she didn't
not
feel
really.
like it.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan, to be honest. She was fine.
Like I thought she was fine, but she didn't feel important.
But yeah, feeling dead inside, the whole Zelda thing. It was also the fucking eye animation was so fucking weird. Like that, like it was
on the dragon.
Yeah, it was very creepy kind of animation. But I just remember, obviously, the final tear falls. The Silent Princess flowers everywhere, right?
Oh my god.
And there were so many emotions that ran through, you know. I felt devastated. The kleptomania kicked in instantly as I needed to gather all 50 of those Silent Princesses. I had to pick those fuckers up. And then instantly I was like, and now I need to get on the fucking dragon. So then my brain goes into like Matrix level slow motion mode of how do I get onto the dragon quickly before it fucks off, because God knows where it's going to and I'll never find it again. I'm like, I need it now. And I'm like, quickly, fast travel to the tower, jump up. I don't have enough stamina. Quickly, we'll figure this out. And I managed to get onto it straight away. And I was like, damn, like Matrix level shit, I had to get onto it. I do like how there were multiple methods of finding the Master Sword. I do like that there was there's like 3 methods. You can find it the way we did with the memories. You can go to the Deku tree. And then there's a final method of the game going, go to the Deku tree if you want it. Like, here's your fucking hint. Go to the hidden forest.
To the Deku tree, who will be like, why is it moving? And if you can't put it together by then. My favorite part was figuring out where it was and then still not getting it for a while, and then being like, getting kind of going through the motions of getting the other hints with the Deku tree and stuff. I'm like, well, if I didn't know already, that confirmed it for me.
Well, I got it straight away after the final memory of seeing when I saw the dragon there. But when I had figured it out, which was like 2 or 3 memories before that, I was like, how the fuck am I going to find where this dragon is? Because I've seen it like 3 times and I can't get anywhere fucking close to it because it's so high up. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And the motorbike hadn't been invented yet. There was nobody. This was like on day 2 or 3. No one was going around cruising on motorbikes yet. Or if they had, I hadn't seen them on Twitter. So
I forget what I did exactly. I think I just made a balloon and went really high up and kind of just floated and jumped off when I saw her.
Yeah, fair enough. But
I was like, I'm just gonna wing it.
Fair enough. But hey. But yeah, I really liked, compared to the memories, I liked the memories in Breath of the Wild. I liked the memories quite a lot. I felt like these felt more substantial though, because again, it's weird because they're the same because they're memories, but they're also different because it's actually impacting the story because the story's still ongoing instead of being a thing that happened and now we're just dealing with the aftermath like in Breath of the Wild.
The memories in Breath of the Wild felt kind of disjointed in a way too, in some respects, where I feel like this set of memories really does paint a solid picture of Zelda's time in the past, and you really do get the sense that, Rauru and Sonya are like a do-over for her very troubled childhood in a way, with her whole parental situation that way. So it hurts all the more when that gets snatched away and whatnot, and it really does. This version of Zelda remains the one that still needs a hug the most.
Again, yeah. I mean, when you like, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, who's suffered the most?" And I saw someone was like, "Yeah, but Ocarina of Time, Zelda, lost her friend for ages and all that stuff." I'm like, bitch, this person literally lost her dad, all of her friends, her knight was comatose, she had to fight the fucking calamity by herself for 100 years, finally got free, got about 5 years, 7 max off, and then got yeeted back to the past where she had to fight Ganon, lose, then become a dragon for thousands of years, to then be rescued. And it's like, no comparison here. There is no comparison.
It's not
crazy.
even fair, really. Because, you know...
Dude, this is why I want a third game. I want a third game in this universe, just so she can just have a fucking
just
nice
so
time
she can be
once.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knowing my luck, she didn't get even shafted even more in the third one. So it's like, yeah, maybe not.
My God. I don't know what they could possibly do more than besides kill her. Like legit, but
oh God, if
you know,
Nintendo starts fridging, that's
I don't think they have the stones for that. Considering how, if they did, maybe they wouldn't have undone the
back
dragon
from a
thing.
dragon.
Yeah,
pulled the whole Deus Ex Machina at the end, where they were like, "And everything's fine." We'll talk about that. It's a cool moment.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Anyway, we've rambled long enough. Let's get to the actual story. These will be quicker. I promise you. We're not halfway through this video. Ethan needs to sleep soon, so we're gonna chug through. You might get 2 hours out of us, but only if you're good. The Wind Temple. We both did the Wind Temple first.
Yeah.
I also feel like the Wind Temple set a high bar because it was one of my favorites in the entire game.
I think it was a good one to point you at first, for sure. And in general, I like that the actual run up to the dungeon and stuff this time felt like it had actual stakes to it. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, the Divine Beasts were just kind of hanging out and standing there menacingly for all intents and purposes. I think like what Varuto was making it rain on the fish people.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not that big a problem for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like Va Meadow was
like,
circling
Varuta
menacingly.
It's making it windy. And I'm like, calm down, guys. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So in general, I thought that, you know, Rito Village, for example, being buried under a blizzard, if we don't hurry, was a good, you know, sense of urgency to it there.
Especially, you know, I think they were kind of, you know, I feel like especially that one did feel like it was more that was more the dire of the 4 situations, really, because it was like the other three, because it's like you've got, you know, the birds are stuck under ice. Let's look what's out. The Gerudo are experiencing severe weather warnings at the moment as a sandstorm is approaching, and it's just
they're
like,
also dealing with a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, but then most of the people were like, "Hey, it's sandstorm." You didn't know there were zombies really until you got there, right? But you're like, okay, sandstorm. And you're like, what's going on with the Gorons? And they're like, well, they're having mood swings. Well, they can fucking wait. They can wait their fucking turn. They're eating the weird rocks. And it's like, okay, and then what's happened at the Zora domain? Oh, a BP oil spill. Fantastic, dude. Well, like...
Pollution.
We'll wait for that, dude. But yeah, so I think it was a good pick. Gotta feel bad for Tabor, though, haven't you? Like, only one of the 4 champions in Breath of the Wild to get shafted for a kid. Like, why? Poor guy.
It's funny because if I would have been, like, I guess I don't know. I guess Tabor must have been, like, the least popular of them.
No, everyone hated Yunobo. Everybody.
You see, I was under the impression that everybody hated Yunobo, but... I don't know. Maybe I
think everybody hated Yunobo, but they realized that if you just replace a Goron with another Goron, unless it's Daruk, no one gives a shit. So it's like, Gorons are Gorons.
So I think Tulin was cool though, which is surprising because I usually don't like kids.
Yeah, he was chill. I thought his quest was a bit shit until you started going into the flying air area with all the boats and stuff like that.
Where it's just like, Tulin ran off into a cave.
I definitely think it's the weakest of the 4 actual quest lines until you get to the dungeon.
Yeah.
But the dungeon the platforming in the air was really cool. I do like Tulin's glide ability. It was very interesting. I loved the kind of visual of all the ships in the air sailing around. Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Just kind of spiraling up to that one. It was really cool.
And I guess
it was great too because like I was doing that that segment takes place for a while before you get to the temple, and I'm like, surely, because like I got to the first shrine and there's like 2 or 3 of them on the way up there. I'm like, surely the temple's gonna be like right there.
It feels like it's almost part of the temple, to be honest, with how long it is.
Yeah.
Especially because of how short the actual temple is. It's definitely the shortest of them, so it does feel like it's a part of it, and it's a really cool visual, and I like it quite a lot. The temples themselves, they all very much boil down to, here are the 4 fucking things you have to hit, off you go. Well, between 3 and 4, between 3 and 5, should I say, because they spice it up.
Yeah, with variance in numbers, but I don't really hate that way of doing it. I like that the temples all feel like they have their own level of gravitas and stuff to how they're laid out and designed. And I like that the music picks up every time you hit one of the keys or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it has all the things that I was missing from the Divine Beasts when.
And they don't have a dodgy bullshit 3D map that you have to try and fucking like the thing is, these 3D maps, like, people, I don't like 3D maps in video games. I 100%.
I don't like when games get cute with maps at all.
I hate it, and I 100% blame it. It was passable for Breath of the Wild. I blame Jedi Fallen Order for this shit. As soon as Jedi Fallen Order committed that war crime of whatever the
playing
fuck
that earlier this year and getting that map, I was like, oh. No.
That's why I still have refused to play it, even though I own it. I refuse to play it. But no. So, not having them be in the shape of stupid animals and trying to figure out a map was a lot nicer. Just trying to figure out like a boat or figure out a volcano lair. Yeah,
and they all had distinct atmospheres and feel like the same thing, just shaped a little differently.
Yeah, I thought the boss was really cool. I really liked this boss.
I liked this boss a lot too.
I think is it my favorite of the bosses?
I think of the bosses in the dungeons, at
least,
I liked it the most because like I did the thing where it's shooting the stuff at you, and because on the way up there were the ice puddles that you could like jump on and it would break. Yeah. So I was like, oh, its body kind of looks like that, so I dove through it, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
And I was just a smart person who was just shooting arrows into the 3 slots and got it killed within 2 seconds.
You see, I dove through it, and then when it was going on its way back up, I shot it with the arrows. It was great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really liked that fight. I liked the whole dungeon itself, really. And the story was fine. I think that's the main problem with these, is the stories are fine. I think some are better than others. I think they basically did what everybody expected them to do and go, okay, what were the 2 favorite areas by everybody? Zora's Domain and the Gerudos. Okay, so those 2 will be the ones where they have a bit of a story to them, and then everybody else is just chilling, right? Like Yunobo and the fucking Gorons are just eating rock roasts for shits and giggles.
There's something very funny about that to me, at least, though.
I mean, screw it. Let's talk about it now, right? Rock roast fucking land. Everyone got angry off the fucking Zelda gave them the bad meat, and there you go. Like, food poisoning turns the
rock people experiments with drugs.
I just funny. Like how they were like, we need an excuse so that like the kids and the elderly aren't pissed, and it was just like, we'll make it a rock roast so hard that the old people's teeth can't fucking eat it, and it's like, perfect, we got it, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had the whole marbled rock roast and Yunobo being a dickhead with the stupid Zoro mask, and I was like,
I saw him walking up with that thing on the first time I saw him, like, what? You can't possibly be the same guy.
Yeah. And you have that little fight with him.
The little fake fight where you hit him 3 times to break the mask, and it'd be like, good for Link for showing mercy.
Yeah, and then you find out that Zelda's doing weird things. She's the person that told them to eat the rock roast. Ooh, what's going on there? What's Zelda doing? She's being weird. And then you've decided you go climb into the mountain, into the fucking volcano, right into the heart of it. There's a cool little fight at the top of it with the.
Oh yeah.
With the flying, and I do like Yunobo's ability. I think most of the abilities from them are not that great. Other than like Toulon's is useful, but most of them are not that great.
Toulon's is the only one that's like useful most times. The other ones are very situational.
But I did like piloting a vehicle and firing him into the
Yeah, like a little cannon.
into the into the beast. It was kind of cool. I liked it. And then you dive into the depths, and this is your first temple that's actually in the depths. Obviously, the first one was in the sky. This one's in the depths. And people hate this temple. I think it's but I think in terms of like general audience, I think this is the worst temple. I think this is everybody's least favorite temple is the fire temple. I didn't hate it, but my
I don't
God,
hate
was
it
it
either.
convoluted.
Yeah, I feel like they could have maybe streamlined the rail system a bit better.
Yeah. Which is a shame because the aesthetics of it were really cool. I liked the aesthetics of this area quite a bit. And again, boss I liked. I didn't hate any of the bosses in this game really, particularly.
Yeah.
So,
The bosses were like none of them were super hard, and
no.
at least as far as the dungeons, but they all looked cool and felt really satisfying to destroy. So
100%.
that's all I really want from a Zelda boss because they've never really been that hard.
But no, like the Gorons, I think were fine. I don't really like the area that much. I think I'm grateful that it wasn't fucking boiling everywhere. That was nice. I liked that. There were some funny side quests.
The two Gorons who were like trying to figure out where they were born or whatever, that was a funny one.
Yeah, just fucking try and find the cave. We didn't mention it. There's like one similar one in Rito Village where there's like someone's looking for like the bird or whatever. Like, and it turns out it's the lay of the snow in a certain area, and there's a cave there with the shrine. I'm like, there's some cool stuff there. I like them quite a bit. But again, you know about least favorite of the 4 champions again. Get in the fucking bin, you know.
Yeah,
he's what are you doing?
He's still. I like him a little bit more than I liked him in Breath of the Wild because
not enough.
I guess he has a little bit of a spine, but you know it's also you can't compete with Sidon or Riju, and well, Tulin was unfortunately for Yunobo pretty all right.
Speaking of Riju, the Gerudo. I think the Gerudo area this time, in terms of the main quest, was my favorite this time round.
Oh yeah, for like their wind up to the dungeon, it was indeed my favorite.
It felt like an actual quest. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that the whole walking into the town, it all being destroyed and stuff, and then the Gibdo popping up. Oh, that was all really neat.
Trying to break in, and they're like, you're not allowed, so then you have to find another way in, and you ascend through the fucking floor like the genie, like I did, and then you're like, oh no. And then everyone's like, hang on, that's the one guy that's allowed in here. Hold your weapons, guys. It's fine. We're good. It's just really funny. Like, I always think the Gerudo interactions are always kind of funny because they either really don't want to link around or some of them are a bit too curious. Like, there's the one girl that just fucking stalks you in that one room and you're just like, leave me be. Let me be. I'm just trying to vibe here, girl.
The problem is that the ones that are really curious are like the children, and it becomes a little weird.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Though,
it makes sense. You've never seen a man. You've never really seen a man before, so
not like not Madison's age, but you know the ones that are like I don't know,
preteens.
Them lot. They're all just like, and I'm like, leave me the fuck alone, dude. Fucking just leave me alone. Can't you be like the other people that don't give a shit? Like the fucking woman that's throwing the 6 million bottles into the fucking water, hoping to find somebody. I thought that was kind of funny. And then every time you talk to her, she's just like, will you go away? I'm trying to busy here. I'm like, wow.
Like, I found the bottles.
Yeah. Do I know? Where's my reward?
Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, I really liked it, you know, going to find Riju with the line. You know, her lightning ability fucking sucks, but, you know, move on.
It's not great, but, you know, at least it does. It works well enough for getting rid of Gibdos without spending resources.
I do think it's a really missed opportunity, because obviously there's, like I say, there's like a 5 to 7 year time skip here. They really missed a really funny opportunity to have made Riju taller than Link and like properly taller than Link, and actually have aged her up a bit more so that she feels like I just think that would have been really funny if it was just like, you know, Zelda and Link have barely aged, but then Riju is like, oh yeah, I'm just way taller now because I'm a Gerudo, because it's like, yeah, because now she's like what, 17 and still
tall.
short. I'm like, when do Gerudo have their growth spurt, dude? I thought she would have like
it is
shot
weird,
up by now. But she's cool. I still really like her.
Second favorite of the champions still.
Yeah, she's really solid. And yeah, I just like it. The Lightning Temple, I liked the Lightning Temple. It was interesting. I think to me it was definitely the hardest because I solved it properly, but I was like, I had a bit
I liked
of
this one a lot.
thought process behind it.
I think it might even be my favorite one as far as the 4 proper ones that you do right there. I really liked it. It was like a little Indiana Jones temple. It was great.
Yeah. It was fun. I like it quite a bit. And again, the story all around it, you know, freeing the Gerudo town, it's just, there's a lot to do in it, and I liked it. You had you hopping around everywhere, right? That was kind of what I liked about it. You were actually hopping around instead of just being like, "Hi, Link, do you want to go to the temple?" Yeah, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know, there was some actual steps to it. There was some puzzles to actually get the temple to appear. I liked it quite a bit. And then that leaves us with the water temple, the BP oil spill over there.
So did you leave Sidons for the end because he's your favorite? Because that's what I did. I'm like, I want to end this on my favorite interaction.
Yeah, true. You know, it was just like, you know, God, you know, it was a twofer, dude. I got to go see Sidon, got to go and dab on Mipha's grave real quick. You know, it was the 2 for 1, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it was. To be fair, I really do like what they did there. I feel bad for the other champions because they didn't get a monument. But you know, I liked that.
Daruk's face is carved into Goron's little Mount
but that was
Rushmore
already there.
Yeah.
But you know, like having Mipha with the statue and stuff like that. I have a really funny screenshot that I've shown you of the first time I went there, and I went to fucking emote on Mipha's grave as a joke. Zelda's dragon was literally in the background of the image, and I'm like, wow, bro, this is awkward. Me and the X's, am I right? Wow, this is crazy. But no, I liked it, and I like all the Sidon stuff. I love Sidon. Sidon's great.
He's just the best, isn't he?
He is, dude. He's a homie through and through, dude. He's a homie through and through. And you know, I liked I can't remember what his fiance's name is.
Yona.
Yeah, I knew it began with a Y
or something like that. However you're supposed to say it.
I liked her quite a bit. At first, I thought they were going to pull the plot twist of her being, you know, not too.
I'm
great.
the one who sludged it.
Yeah. I am the big sludge man, like person. Yeah, no, but you know, I thought at first they were going to kind of pull out, but now she's just chill, and she just has to deal with her weird husband and his hyperfixation on his best friend, which I love. It's all good, you know. It's good fun. And the
I
Water
like that
Temple,
Link
I
and
thought was
Sidon
pretty...
got their own statue too for doing the thing with Baruto the previous game. I was like,
that
that's
statue's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah,
it was funny too because there was
statues.
it was funny too because there was apparently there was a little side quest for that, and I was just like, oh, Sidon statue is mucked up, and I just without even being prompted threw the little splash thing, and was like, and then everyone's like, hey, thanks.
Hey, you the guy in the statue? That's pretty crazy. But no, it was cool. I liked it. The Water Temple, you know, there was some fun stuff like the fish-shaped island and stuff like that, trying to figure all that stuff out. There was some cool stuff there. Temple itself, I felt, was a bit simplistic.
It was laid out a little weird. Like, you could see everything from everywhere else.
Well, it looked like it was like with the pipes and everything. It kind of looked like an organ in the way that it was shaped. And I was like, is this going to be kind of a musical thing? No, it was just water. Gush the water. I also least favorite of the fucking boss is this little weird little fucker.
Oh yeah, dude, the little boss that it makes you fight. The guy that you fight before you go to the temple. I have special beef with because he ate my Hylian shield and didn't give it back when I killed it, and I was like, well, I can't let this can't stand, so I went to the big old Boss Po statue and had him make me a new one. Or I don't know. I don't think that's who gave it to me. I don't remember how I got the Hylian shield back, but
Well, you can
I
get
got
it back in this one.
Yeah.
Cool. Didn't know that. But there you go. And then with that, you have done your homework, you've done your chores, you've done all 4. So it's time to go to the castle, beat Ganon, get those credits rolled, dude. That's as simple as it is. It's just as simple as that. So off we head to Ganon's castle. Shocker of the century. That Zelda isn't Zelda. It was a fake from Ganon the whole time. And then you have to have a fight with Ganon, which was pretty cool. I liked that fight with Ganon. It was pretty fun.
I didn't really like the game of... I think the game of tag...
The game of tag fucking sucked. The game of tag
the game of tag with fake Zelda...
And every time you have to fight someone, I'm like, fucking hell.
Because this was like the last thing I was doing for the night there, because I finished it up and I was like, I'm gonna go let the plot stuff happen after the water temple, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. Yeah. And then I wasn't satisfied with where the plot stuff was leaving, so I'm like, I can't leave it here. It's gonna go there, and then it just kept going, and I'm like,
forever and ever, yeah. I think there's some cool stuff there though. I love that when you go back, because you've done awful things. You're expecting like a triumphant return, and then you go back to the base, and it's got like the very ominous music playing, and you're like, oh god, what the fuck's happening? And everyone's staring at the castle.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's fucking weird. And it's like, obviously they see Zelda there and stuff like that. I think all that stuff's cool. Obviously, it not being Zelda is fucking obvious at that point. If you hadn't done
especially, it
should still be obvious. After the Gerudo shit, not the Gerudo, the Goron shit, it should very much be obvious.
There was some sussy stuff going on with the Gerudo and Zelda too. Like she had walked into the temple or something. There was
there was some.
Yeah.
But I love, to be honest, the same with the water temple as well. But I love how everybody else, this is my favourite part, was we didn't talk about the flashback scenes where you met the champion, blah, 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 recall the same story that happens every single time. I love how all of them, even fucking Yunobo, this is why Yunobo sucks so fucking much, is he sees Zelda be evil, that drug him, and drug everybody else. They free everybody, and they're like, that's weird. What was Zelda up to? She must have a reason. Whereas Sidon watches this shit and goes, well, that's obviously Zelda in the past. Who the fuck's here? And I'm like, thank you, Sidon. Someone
Sidon put that together. Riju put it together too. And I don't... Tulin was probably like, my head hurts. I'm a kid.
Well, no. But like, Sidon's the only person that flat out fucking said it. Like, Riju was like, something doesn't add up here. This is fucking weird. She was like, Zelda's in the past, but she's also here. That's weird. I'm like, okay, you're on some kind of level. Yunobo's fucking stupid. He's probably still high off the fucking rock. And then I
distinctly remember going, God, Yunobo, you're dumb.
Yeah, I'm like, you're fucking stupid. But, it's all fun and games. But then you get there. But what I did like was that it did kind of subvert expectations of like, okay, you've done the 4 things. It's time to finish the end. And it's like, surprise, there's a whole 5th fucking thing to do. The 5th sage.
I liked during the platoon of the Phantom Ganon fights. I liked that your sage pals come and help you out for that.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was a cool little moment.
Yeah,
that way they could all like. It was cool having more than just Link interact with Ganondorf for a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked that. And then obviously you've got to go and send after you go on your way back to Kakariko. Go and touch the things that Zelda were like, no touchy. And then off you go.
It's very funny to me that people struggled to figure out that Kakariko was the place you had to go.
I'm not shocked because people are stupid. Including me. It did take me a second to go, where do I need to go? Okay, Kakariko, I'm figured it out.
Like when I woke up, I'm sure that when they said it to me at first, it was while I was still in the process of turning off the game and going to sleep. When I woke up and had Pura tell me what to do again, I'm like, oh, cool. It's over here, because now I can tell that bald guy who's yelling at me to shut up because it's not really Zelda. Like I've been trying to do for the past 15 hours since I've known that Zelda could have possibly told him that anyway.
Yeah. So, you figure it out. Off you go into the Zora ruins in the southeast, and then you figure it out that it's in the big thunderclouds up above. So you go there. There's this big door. You push the big door. In you go. oh no, weird mask talking to me. It's Minoru off into the depths again. And there's another temple, which is interesting. I've had this conversation with Kyle. I haven't had this conversation with you. What are your opinions on this temple? Because Kyle said that
I didn't
really
like it as
liked
much
I thought,
as the other ones.
yeah, I thought it was shit. So I'm like, a lot of people seem to love this one. I'm like, bro, I thought it was fucking mid because it's just like 4 challenge rooms or whatever. And I'm like, none of it was compelling. And I just got pissed off because I'm like, now I've got to drag the piece all the way over there. Like, fucking hold it. UPS that shit. I'm like, no, this sucks in a way.
I think part of my issue was like, okay, so in the in the fire temple, that was all lit for you.
Yeah.
And I had the the half of the place was dark.
Yeah.
For me, when I was trying to find like the last arm or leg or whatever the last piece was I needed, I was like, but I can't even tell where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah. For me it was light, so I don't know if it's because I'd done all the light routes or whatever, so it was fine for me. I was thriving.
Yeah.
But it was still, I just didn't like the way it kind of felt. And then also the fucking mech sucks. It's not great. The only fun thing about the mech is, I'll give them that, I thought the boss fight was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
The boss fight was a lot of fun.
The Rock and Sock and Robots was quite fun. I enjoyed that.
The mech is funny because, like, theoretically, you can still find this place early, right?
I found it. You can't do anything with it, but I found it.
Oh.
Because you don't have the mask.
Oh, so, like, you still can't trigger this. You can't trigger Minoru's whole ordeal before that part of the story.
If you go up to the top, you can find it. Sam found it before anything else.
Oh, okay.
So if you go and find the mask at the top, you can. And if you go to the depths like I did, you just see this processing facility, and I couldn't do anything with it because I was
okay.
So I think you have to find the mask up the top first.
The point was trying to make is like the mech is theoretically a good thing for the. It would have been a nice thing to have when I only had like 6 hearts, not when I was
right at the end of the game.
Yeah, I had done every shrine. The final shrines I had done were the ones that were on the thundercloud.
That's same. Those were my final 2 as well.
Yeah. So I was there, and Link he could cut the world into pieces if he wanted to. So the mech was not really helping me out very much, and it felt kind of clunky by comparison most of the time.
100%. I barely used it after the forced boss fight. I was like, yep, in the bin with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But no,
like if I would have explored the depths a little bit more, maybe I would have used it to just ride over the gloom.
But yeah. It's a bit too little too late if you play like us and you go and do everything else bar the main story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Minoru is the final stage, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Again, I didn't really care for Minoru too much.
I feel like almost in a way, if they had flipped this around and made you do Minoru's stuff first, or like guided you to have that happen sooner, she would feel a bit more important because she's been around longer. And also had connections to the past stuff.
I don't know. It's interesting. She's there though, and then once you've got her, that's it. It's time to go and face Ganon, who is Shock of the Century.
Destroy Ganon.
In the fucking hole. So in the hole we go. Which can I say?
When I first tried to explore, Hyrule Castle, because I was like, all right, I see a shrine over there, and that's clearly where the tunic is.
Yeah.
I ran out of stamina, and I fell in the hole.
Oh dear.
On my way to sailing into the ascended castle, and then I realized very quickly, I'm like, oh, this is Ganondorf's lair, isn't it? I should leave.
Which is guarded by so many enemies, and a Lionel, and all sorts of shit.
And a Lionel, yeah.
They really were like, okay, you can do the same thing and go and beat him straight away if you want, but good fucking luck. Salute to everybody that isn't just a speedrunner.
I challenge you.
Yeah. It's crazy, but it's cool. There's like the Horde. There's like the Kingdom Hearts fight before the fight, the Horde battle, where you've got to fight with your champions or the enemies. Which I was like,
I didn't mind that.
It was fine. Felt like a bit of a time waster. But then you've got the actual Ganon fight, the big boy Ganon fight, which has like 3 or 4 phases to it.
Oh,
Because you've got like the one-on-one, then you've
the
got the
one-on-one, yeah.
champions, then you've got fuck off champions, get in the bin, one-on-one.
Back to one-on-one again.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
I really liked all of
souped
this
up
because, like,
one-on-one, and then
yeah,
dragon.
I really liked all of this because I feel like, I don't know, the one-on-one sword fight was something I didn't realize I liked so much in these games until it wasn't around for Breath of the Wild. Because, like, I guess technically it was 2-on-1 when Zelda was helping you in Wind Waker, but
Yeah.
barely. Then the one in Twilight Princess, a lot of fun. Fighting Demise and Skyward Sword, same deal. They're all just really cool moments of spectacle, and
Yeah.
that was missing in Breath of the Wild with Calamity Ganon, and then the Dark Beast Ganon was kind of lame. I really liked this fight. Him doing things to me that only I could do to other stuff. Like when he perfect dodged me the first time, I was like, "Ah!" I was like talking to my friend. I'm like, I'm in trouble now.
He deals a lot of damage. Like he does a lot. Like you have to be prepared for that fight. It's kind of crazy.
And then when he starts breaking your heart containers, I'm like, oh god, I'm really in trouble now, aren't I?
Yeah. Literally,
I
on the
wasn't
last
really
hit
in
he
trouble
dealt
because
to
I had
me,
all
he
my.
broke my shield, and I was sad.
Oh,
My Hylian
I wasn't
shield.
really in trouble because my health was maxed, but you know,
Yeah.
it was the illusion of trouble.
But no, it was pretty cool. And then the final fight was obviously dragon on dragon flying around. I thought it was pretty cool. As a spectacle, I thought it was a much better spectacle than the Beast.
It was a much
in
better
Breath of the Wild.
spectacle than the Dark Beast Ganon, and because the boss fight before it was so, I was so gratified by that I was fine with this being very mechanically simple.
Yeah.
Because like Zelda and Ganon are dragons and they're fighting each other. It's great.
It is pretty cool. I like it. And then obviously
The music in that part's real good too. Oh.
Yeah. And then you obviously defeat Ganon and he explodes into a ball of light. Off he goes again.
He's dead again.
He's dead again for now. Off he goes.
Until they reset the world again.
Yeah, and then they do the Deus Ex Machina of, okay, power of friendship or whatever. I don't know, power of love, I guess. Bring back Zelda. So yeah, Sonya and Rauru, the spirits of them, and Link bring Zelda back. And also heal Link's arm, apparently, that was irreparable. His arm just is fine.
Okay, so after 100 or so hours with his arm being all cool and stuff, his normal arm looked off to me. I was like, this isn't right anymore. But, you know, I would have respected them if they had kept, I would have been upset, but I would have respected the decision to keep Zelda as a dragon.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, I think the way I feel like at least to me, when a thing earns their little undo button is when I feel good about it happening.
Yeah.
You know, because I was hyped to all get out when she was being fixed and the dive to her.
That's the thing that I was like, the best part of that bit to me was when I went, oh shit, I'm in control again. Like, because I was not expecting to be in control again. Usually when I know that I've done a final hit, right, I put the controller down and just sit and watch the show, right? And then so I had to go and fucking pick my controller back up again and go, oh shit. And then dive down.
The wheels started turning for me while it was fading to white. I was like, wait a minute. We were in the air.
Yeah, I just thought there was going to be a cool cutscene of him grabbing her.
She was in a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that was real cool because the main theme started playing. And when you got closer to her, it was Zelda's Lullaby. And then when you grabbed her, it was the series theme. It was real good. It's like one of my... If, like, we don't have a moment of video games in the gear category for the HGAs, but if we did, that would be, like, the front runner for it.
But no, yeah, I like that. It was a cool section. Then obviously, in typical Nintendo fashion,
piece of dramatic symmetry with the story too, because beginning didn't catch her, and
catches her. Yeah, the big dive, and then you get a final 1 minute thing of like, good job, pat on back, off we go. The only thing I will give all you Z-Link shippers is, in Japanese, because the line that she says is "I'm home," which is usually a romantic thing in Japanese. So there you go.
I
Have
mean,
fun with
to
that
be
one.
fair, in the man, there was an embrace while they were falling, and he carried her out of the lake as if
Oh,
he was
shirtless
carrying
as
a
well. You
bride.
go, champ.
Yeah,
Where's your
as
shirt
if
gone, bro? Where's
as
your
if
shirt
he
gone?
they didn't want anyone's stupid choice of outfit compromising the drama of this scene
It's
this
because
time.
it's because it happened last time. It's because it happened last
Someone was
time.
wearing the stupid Tingle outfit, and Nintendo decided,
Well, no, I just
not this
remember
time.
seeing. I just remember seeing like Zelda and Link walk up on someone's recording to obviously see the four spirits, and Link was wearing nothing but boxers, and it was just so funny of him just like he just ditched his clothes and was walking away, and now they were just like, "Fuck it, that's all." Everyone gets that. Everyone just gets shirtless Link. That's what you're getting.
Yeah. I'm
But
glad they kept his pants, but yeah, and like, so yeah, there wasn't confirmation in quotes, but it was as good as you could ask for from Nintendo without them just giving you what you
more.
want.
But yeah, no. So the whole "I'm home" thing was also very much kind of, again, as much confirmation as you're getting, but in Japanese.
Yeah.
I've watched enough shitty anime rom-coms to know that "I'm home" is the terminology of. There you go. They're together. Well done, Z-Link shippers. You won. Fuck you, Mifa. Stay dead. Rise up, everybody else. Rise up, Vin. We won. S
Also,
tier on the Ethan shipping
another, yeah,
list. I don't remember what I used to call it.
Ethan's shipping service, I
Oh,
believe.
there you go. There you go. S tier.
Another cool little shot of her smiling and stuff too. I really liked that shot at the end of the other game.
Yeah.
People apparently didn't, and I don't understand them.
And then obviously, if you did all the memories, you get a little post-credit scene, which is just everybody being chilling. Minoru waves goodbye to existence, and you're like, bye. Then everyone pledges their allegiance to Zelda again for the 60 millionth time. Which is weird, right? Because I wanted to have this conversation with you because,
Yeah,
to me, it feels like it like in the similar way to Breath of the Wild. I'm like, if that's where we're leaving it, that's a fitting end, right? But it also, to me, didn't scream concrete. This is the last time we might see these characters, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, they could very easily. We've had this discussion off podcast, but they could very easily just keep the same Link and Zelda, go to a different region if they wanted to do a new map instead of.
I've been of the opinion that they should go across the ocean.
I am also of that opinion, mainly just because
like
there's only so many times. Like, yeah, Hyrule is cool and all, and you know, in a more linear Zelda, it makes kind of more sense. Obviously, you've had different areas, like, you know, with Skyloft and all of that jazz. You know, you've had different ways to make it unique. But if you're going to do another open world Zelda game, even if it's a new version of quote unquote Hyrule, you're still gonna have the desert, the snow area, the forest, the volcano, the water. You're still gonna have those similar things. They may be shuffled around a bit, but you're still gonna have Goron Land and Gerudo area, and you know. Yeah. So I feel like going to a new area is good, and I think one of the things that I love about this game, and respect, is we don't have to go through the shit again of who is Zelda, who is Link. Who is like we get the who is Ganon, right? But that's because Ganon wasn't in the original. But I really don't want to go. I really don't want to play another Zelda game and then go, "Hey everybody, this is Link. He's the knight. He protect. He's a knight. Blah 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 blah. Here's the princess. She's got this responsibility or shit on her, and it's like." Can we just keep moving on with, like, I'm happy to keep these characters around again because it definitely didn't feel like
it's the best version of them still, so I'm more than happy to see another game with them. I will be happy to see another game with this version of these two probably until I die or until they stop.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like if you're going to do another one of these in this similar kind of vein, I don't see why you would take that leap. But also, at the same time, as I mentioned earlier on, I don't ever want to act as if, you know, things can't be improved. They could do a new thing, and they could do a new version of Hyrule, and I could be completely wrong, and it could be brilliant and something completely new and interesting.
Maybe somehow they'll make a better version of Link and Zelda miraculously.
Maybe. But it's like, if you are going to do a new area and do a new map, I'd much rather you keep the same characters and let us carry on going.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
You know, knock yourselves fucking out. If you're like, oh, but the original Breath of the Wild story getting pretty old. Remaster it for the Switch 2. I don't give a shit. I'll buy that game for a 7th time or whatever. I don't give a
I
toss.
will
I'll do it
too.
again.
Don't worry.
You
Don't
know what Zelda fans are
worry.
like. We'll all buy it again. We're stupid.
People are literally begging you to put Wind Waker on the Switch
Exactly.
so they can buy it again. And Twilight Princess.
You can put a journal in. But no, it didn't feel like it felt like, again, if that's the last we see of them, cool, whatever. But it also really didn't feel like the end of that universe, because it was like them pledging to Zelda and stuff like that. It just kind of felt like it was like...
I liked the other one. I liked the other post-credit scene more.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, same. Because it gave you a little bit of a glimpse into like, okay. It also just, it felt more personal, whereas this felt like...
It felt more personal, and this one, we spent like half the runtime just saying bye to Minoru, who, like I've said,
I don't give a shit
fine.
about.
So I'm like, you know...
I would have much rather have had another
just
scene of
Link and Zelda talking to each other.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, instead of that shit. This felt like a scene that should have just been at the ending. Like,
I would have, honestly, it wouldn't have made... You couldn't flip the ending in the post-credits because the ending happens...
straight away.
You know, when it does. But it's like, you know, I liked the ending. I would have taken the ending without a post-credits, honestly.
Yeah. It was a very weird scene where it's like, you know, your reward for getting all of Link's memories with Zelda is congratulations, you get a final scene with Zelda and Link at the end of the game. And it's this time it's like getting all of Zelda's memories rewards you with a scene about Minoru and everybody else saying, "Hi Zelda, we still like you."
Like, it would have made more sense if there was like, even if it was, you know, maybe not super substantial, but just a nice little extra scene of Zelda, Rauru, and Sonia. Because that's a lot of what her memories were about.
Just anything. I'd take anything.
Yeah.
But, oh well. It is what it is. Will we see them again? Who knows? We'll have to wait 8 years to find out.
Link and Zelda will return.
We never know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Will there be DLC? I don't think there will be DLC. To be honest.
I don't think there will be like story DLC.
I think we would have heard about it by now if there was going to be a DLC for it.
I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they did another like trial package thing. But like, I don't know.
I have a feeling
really sure
that they were like, we made DLC and then we spent way too long on a game that we was originally planned to also be DLC. I think they're probably going to go.
Not gonna. Yeah.
I think they like learn from our mistakes, bring the dev time down by a year. Let's move on. Which is, if Switch 2's next year, I would not be shocked if they did an enhanced version for the next one, like the next console, and be like, hey guys, look, here it is in 60 FPS and runs at 1080p. Well done. What a fucking thrill. Congratulations.
If they
Nintendo.
did do DLC, I don't want anything crazy, but little, like, I don't know, vignettes of Link and Zelda just hanging out, going to places, adventuring, just across the map, places you've already been. I don't care. I wanted to hang out with her more in this game, the whole run up to it. And
you got the intro, you can't complain. You got 5 minutes of it.
I got the intro, and I got the ending that was spectacular, but, you know.
Well, you know, Nintendo's usually 20 years behind everybody else, so Last of Us was 2013.
Yeah, eventually we'll get the buddy Zelda eventually.
Literally,
they already
in 10
have the
years'
party
time,
member
Nintendo
thing.
will be ready to do a buddy AI. They're 20 years behind. We're good.
Because they've already got they already had the party member thing with the sages, which, yeah, that was something I was complaining about when it hit me. I'm like, they have this sage companion thing going on, and then they went and made the biggest companion in the series, a dragon that can't hang out with you.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I was like, ah.
But yeah. Oh well. Anyway, that is it. That is our spoiler cast for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm wrapping it up there because it's nearly 2 a.m. and Ethan's got work tomorrow, so haha, enjoy your 5 hours sleep, you idiot. It's fine though, because we promised this, and also I've been wanting to talk about this game for a fucking month, so we got it out.
Yeah.
But overall,
I'll never stop talking about this game.
I will
until the next one.
I will until something else takes my brain away. Maybe it'll be Final Fantasy 16. Only kidding, still haven't played it. Anyway,
you have to start that game first, you goober.
One day. Anyway, if you want to catch us on Twitter, our links are on screen right now. Yeah, it's been fun. like I said, we're planning on doing more stuff like this, probably shorter, and probably more succinct, and probably, I don't know, who knows what we'll do. We'll talk about that in the future. If you want it on another podcast feed, though, please say yes. We'll do that. But then I've also got to manage 2 podcast feeds. That also sounds cringe. We'll see. We'll see. More stuff is on the way, though. And hopefully we'll plan on doing some more spoiler casts this year than just one. Who knows?
I sure would like to, but
I'll play Final Fantasy 16 eventually. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have there's a couple
do
of
a
games.
very late Star Wars spoiler cast when you play that.
No, I refuse. I'm not passionate enough about Star Wars to care about that, to be honest. Unfortunately, I'll just be like, that was cool. I liked when the lightsabers did cool fucking tricks. That was fun. That's about it. That's all I have to say.
I rather liked Jedi Survivor's story.
I'm sure it's good. I'll play it in 6 months. It's fine. We've still got plenty of time.
Yeah.
But there's some games coming out. There's plenty of story games coming out. You know.
Yeah.
We'll probably do Spider-Man again. We did one for Miles Morales.
We did, didn't we? Yeah, we'll do Spider-Man.
But, you know, if you do want to keep up to date with all that stuff, you can follow us on Twitter at HotGamersOnly, I guess, or subscribe on youtube.com/HotGamersOnly, or look for Hot Gamers Only on your favourite podcast service. We're on here. If you want our spoiler casts, they do show up on the regular podcast feed, so you don't have to do anything. And that's one thing I will promise, talking about this new podcast feed. If we're doing something like this, which is a regular spoiler cast, it will still be on the HGO podcast feed. We're going to keep them there.
Yeah.
That's for other shit, but if it's one of these bad boys, it'll be on the main feed, so you don't have to worry about it. We'll still be here once every 6 months. Don't worry. When a game grips us,
there will be at least one game every year that we do this for.
Probably. That's why I love when it's like we've done 160 episodes, and podcast people are like, actually, you've done like 164 because we got some Oz. The spoiler cast count for us. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's laziness. But anyway, we've talked enough. I need to sleep. Thank you ever so much for listening and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week for the regular episode of the podcast, I guess. What's it on? We'll never know. We'll find out, I guess. But yeah, have an awesome rest of your week. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Toodaloo.